Hey, how's it going? Welcome back to the Nerderotic channel. My name is Gary Buechler. I am live in San Francisco, California, and I come to you from nerdrotic.com. And we have arrived at the Monday Nooner Delight live stream episode. It's turned into a regular occasion here on the Nerdrotic channel. Now, normally we cover TV shows. That's our thing. But occasionally we do a Friday night podcast where we talk about the news with my co-host Dennis and now Susan Layton. She will be a permanent fixture as long as she wants it on Friday. And she did a great job last Friday, by the way. That was one of our best podcasts. Hi, Silver Spike. Hi, Feisty Fan there in the chat. We're going to let some people roll in. We got some last minute news before I started. I'm a little out of breath because I promised my wife I'd move like this giant oak like bench thing, and I remembered it right before I was going to start, so I decided to do that so you wouldn't see me get yelled at live on the internet. That would not be good. Although I can't promise that won't happen someday. That will probably happen. Metal Horror Gamer Steve Nyman, hey, how's it going? Welcome. Boy, do we have a lot of stuff to talk about. Now, I'm not going to get too heavy in this to some news because I want to save that for Friday. But something just came up hot off the presses, everybody, which is hilarious because I wish Dennis was here. My co-host Dennis has a bit of a man crush on Anson Mount. Okay, and why not? Anson Mount is I always joke that Denson. Jesus, I can't talk. That Dennis wants to mount Anson Mount. He's a handsome guy. He looks a little better with a beard, but he has joined the cast of Star Trek Discovery. Now, let's speculate away who he's going to play. Maybe it even says it here in the article. I'm guessing it's Pike. The reason I bring up Star Trek Discovery immediately is because that show has been the absolute best thing to our channel. It has netted us. We have 1,700 some subscribers now. I'd say almost half of that came from Star Trek Discovery. And we weren't really super nice to the show. John was my co-host on that show, and he liked it more than I did. I didn't overall hate every episode. I loved the mirror stuff. I thought that was entertaining. But overall, it was pretty much a shit show. And I hope it turns around, though. I want it to because I love me some Star Trek. So here we go. Hell on Wheels. Anson Mount joins Star Trek Discovery Season 2. Anson Mount has officially boarded the second season of the hit, quote unquote, CBS All Access sci-fi series Star Trek Discovery as Captain Pike. That's great casting. I say that is actually great casting and a very positive for this show, something they needed. Now, if they do something to the effect of Michael Burnham ends up showing Captain Pike and Captain Kirk how to captain a ship and stuff, I'll have a problem with it. But I think this is a great addition. We got that teaser at the end of season 1 with the Enterprise showing up, which I both loved and hated at the same time. Yes, I did. And yeah, so here it goes. So he will take the role of the captain of the USS Enterprise prior to James Kirk in Star Trek Discovery after being mentioned in the season 1 finale of the premium service series. Pike was previously portrayed by Jeffrey Hunter, who did a very good job in the original pilot episode of the original series, The Cage. Sean Kenny in the episode shooting new footage for the character in the follow-up episode, The Menagerie, and the original series. And Bruce Greenberg, who I also liked, in J.J. Abrams' movie reboot series. Star Trek Discovery follows the voyages of Starfleet on their missions to discover new worlds and new life forms, and one Starfleet officer who must learn that to truly understand all things alien, you must first understand yourself. Okay. Yeah. So is this going to force my co-host Dennis to watch the show? That is the question. And Dennis, I know you're probably not watching because you're busy working at your very technical, sciencey job. But if you do hear this, I challenge you, sir, to watch Star Trek Discovery because your boy's on it. Your boy Anson Mount is on Star Trek Discovery. That is so funny. Star Trek Discovery. Oh my! Just go to our videos on that. We covered every episode. and I had many things to say about having to pay for that stuff, which I did. But after they announced they got a bunch of subscribers in the beginning, CBS All Access, they were really quiet after that, and then they started offering deals for the streaming service. And I think it's important that we all pay attention to CBS All Access, because that's going to be the harbinger, or it's going to be a guiding light in the future of streaming services for Disney and other places. We'll see how that can take on a Netflix and Amazon and Hulu, which will be very, very interesting. Yes, and now after that, we'll stay on the no, I have not talked about the Expanse yet, and that's what I'm going to get into right now. That's how we're going to start the show. I want to try to keep Monday positive. There are a couple subjects I'm going to be hitting later in the show that are, I mean, I'll try to keep it positive. I'm not going to be too judgmental, and there will be absolutely no personal attacks, because that's not what we do here. We don't single out human beings for attack here. We just, we critique content, or I'm just going to pretty much commentate on this channel awesome thing that's going on. But a friend of mine also wrote an open letter to Marvel, Brian Hibbs. He is he's a legend in comic shop retailing. He has successfully sued Marvel before. He is a good guy. He genuinely has comic book retailing. He wants the best for every shop. Yes, he's a competitor. He owns 2 shops here in San Francisco, Comix Experience and Comix Experience Outpost, which used to be my shop. And but he really wants more shops to exist. He wants comic retailing in the brick and mortar form to exist. And I will get to that later. He wrote a pretty passionate open letter to Marvel that I agree with 100%. And I thought it was amazing. I even messaged him on Facebook and told him it was amazing. So, hello, Alexandra. Have you have you read or listened to all the books? Are you going to talk future events? I will try to keep it as unspoilery as possible, and this is all going to be off the top of my head. I have no script. Well, I never script this show. If this is the first time here, we do everything live, and it was by accident. And I know live streaming has become quite the thing lately. Dennis and I have been doing it for well over a year. It was more of a convenience thing because it rolls over into a video and I have to do 0 rendering. All you have to do is download the MP4 and convert it into an audio file. It's very easy. I don't have to cut anything. And Dennis and I have been doing stuff so long. We still a lot, but we don't worry about it anymore. So let's talk about The Expanse, because it starts on Wednesday and I could not be more excited. There are 3 shows that are the reason this channel exists in its current form. And they are Ash vs. Evil Dead, which we cover, Westworld, which we cover, and The Expanse. The Expanse was our first hit for us. Our first 1,000 view video was Westworld. Our second was Ash vs. Evil Dead. But our first show that was, we learned that if we live streamed right after the show, we would get a lot of views and we gained a lot of subs, and that was The Expanse. And it's because nobody was really doing it. And we looked, and there's a lot of in our community of covering TV. There's a lot of us out there, I found out. And it's good. I'm actually starting to get in touch with other people, and it's really fun and collaborative and a good place. So yeah, I look forward to crossing over. We're doing some crossovers here in the future, and I'm looking forward to that. So The Expanse, why I love The Expanse. It is called by many Game of Thrones in space. While I think that's a good analogy. It's not perfect, because I think The Expanse is its own thing. It's really done something unique in my eyes. Now, I haven't read every sci-fi book in the world, so there could be people who've read more who said, no, it's like this. But to me, it's utterly original in how it tells the story. It does follow the same format in book form that George R.R. Martin does in Game of Thrones, which I thoroughly I love, which is, first person perspective per chapter. So you're in somebody's head each chapter, and you get sometimes singular events excuse me, told from three different people, three different perspectives, and it's really unique how they do that. They Leviathan Wakes is the first book of the Expanse, and how the TV show does it is really cool. Is they don't do an entire book in one season. They do the first 2/3, 3/4 of the book. The first book ends halfway through season 2. And I'm going to spoil some stuff here. Okay, so with Miller's story ends midway through season 2, and in the beginning of season 2, we meet Bobby, and then her story starts going about halfway through. We also meet Prax, and that is oh my god, that's one of my favorite, man. That one gets you right here, you know. Just a guy looking for his daughter in the vastness of space after she's been abducted. In the meantime, like, you know, a giant, you know, solar system wide war is about to break out, and you know, like, people don't have time to look for one little girl, and our heroes of the Rocinante decide to take that on. But it starts out for selfish means, but we also get Amos. Amos takes Prax under his wing, which is good. So, overview of the Expanse. I did this last live stream. I'm going to do it again because I want to talk more about it. There's 3 factions in the Expanse. There's the Earthers, there's Mars, and there's the Belters. So the Belters are a giant, like, basically working union. They work out in the asteroid belt. They mine all the resources that both Mars and Earth use. They're hardworking, but they're also the revolutionaries. I would equate them a little bit to Palestine, maybe a little, you know, a tiny bit, and some other things too. And nobody is really portrayed as good guys or bad guys. There's good in every faction, and there's bad in every faction. So that's very Game of Thrones, where you know, George R. Martin even said he you know, I think it's an interesting story. Like, Davos is a great example in Game of Thrones of a really good guy working for kind of an asshole. So I know there's some Stannis fans out there, but yeah, Stannis is still an asshole, you know. And there's a lot of that in the Expanse. We do have main characters, not so much in the books. You know, they're the people we follow, but they a lot of times are side characters in the books, and that is the crew of the Rocinante. You know, and they are thrown together. They are thrown together by happenstance. It starts out pretty simple. You know, we got an ice hauler, right? And hang on, let me get some stuff up here. I wasn't prepped totally, so please forgive me on this one. Because it's pretty amazing how, like, when you start a live stream, like, names just fly out of your head. You're like, what the hell? Okay, so we've got Holden, Amos, Naomi, and Alex, Kamal, and they are the crew of the Rocinante. They also, I'm forgetting his name now. They had a ship's doctor who turned out to not be a doctor in the very beginning. And it starts out, they're on this ice hauler, and they have to answer a distress call, and they decide not to. And it's a solar system wide law that if you're the closest ship to a distress call, you have to go do it. But they are on a time schedule, and they've got they're an ice hauler, so they go and crack ice and put it in this giant ship and take it to, like, Mars so they can have water, or take it to the belt. I think this time they're taking it to the belt for drinking water, and you know, because they fully rely on that to exist. And the great part about this show is its attention to detail. So the people on the belt, they live on asteroids, and so their life revolves around air and water and basic stuff. And air filters, like, they talk about air filters and how, like, if those get jacked up, that can start a revolution on the belt. So, and they're really they really dial in on, like, gravity, movement of ships. There's no, like, hyperspace in this. There is an Epstein drive that can you know, that could fly you out someplace really fast, but you have to get drugged up to go on what's called a burn. So you sit in your chair and it injects a bunch of speed into you and stuff, so you don't pass out during the burn. So we got this ice hauler and Holden's on it. Naomi, Amos, and Alex is the pilot, and they have to answer this distress call, which nobody wants to do. So they're going to take off. But Holden and the lady he is sleeping with at the time, she's like, we should really answer this distress call. And Holden's like, no. And Holden is like kind of a slacker. He's third in charge. He's been offered a promotion. He doesn't really want it. He just wants to, he wants to hang out on a ship and really cause no problems. But it gets into his head, this distress call. So he actually answers it and requires the ship to go out, which pisses off the entire crew. And they all think it's his girlfriend, but it was actually Holden. And they have to get a shuttle go out to the distress call. So we get Naomi, Amos, Alex's pilot, Holden, and that doctor, I'm forgetting the name, I'm sorry. And they go out to answer this distress call. And another side story is a detective story with Tom Jane playing Detective Miller, which is the hook of this show. Is his performance in season 1 is perfect. It's perfect. Now, everybody's a little different from the books. Like Amos is younger, way more handsome. Miller is way more handsome and shorter. Miller's supposed to be a belter, so they're really tall and skinny because they live in 0G. And he's on a mission to find the lost daughter of super rich Titan, and she basically went to college and became it's like she think of your daughter going to Berkeley, and joining Antifa or something like that. That's kind of what's going on here. She's joining the Belters, and it's not a revolutionary group. It's more of a starting of a political faction that's like really splintered off. Then they're considered terrorists by both Earth and Mars, but they see themselves as more of, just we're trying to start a government. The OPA, the Outer Planets Alliance. So Miller starts looking for this girl. It turns out this girl is the one, the connection is she's the one who gives the distress call. And we start out seeing her. And the show starts out with her, being trapped in a room, and she breaks herself out. You could tell she's been in there for days and days, and there's a bunch of commotion outside in the ship. And when she finally gets out, like the ship is empty, like there's nobody in it. So she's floating around, and she gets her way to the engineering room, and she sees this giant blue thing wrapped around the nuclear reactor. And if you look hard enough, it's not blue, it's like black blue gook, and it's all people. It's all like melted down people wrapped around the reactor, and she screams, and that's where we start off. So then we get the distress call. Holden and the crew of the shuttle go out there to find her. They don't find anything. They go in there. They'd never make it to engineering, but they decide to get out, and then some stealth ship show up, and they blow up the ice hauler. Pursue the shuttle, but the shuttle gets away. They make it to a Mars ship, which is the other faction, and Mars is so cool in this. They're kind of my favorite. So they're trying to terraform the planet. So there's this singular society. It's like a military, focused society. Like we're just here to protect Mars and terraform it. And they started out as an Earth group doing this, but they broke off and declared their independence. So, and everybody's on the brink of war. It even states that as the book starts and as the TV show starts, that like we're coming in on this at like the worst time. So, so the Rocinante crew ends up on a Martian ship. And the Martian ship gets attacked by these mysterious stealth ships. This Martian ship is like top of the line, like nothing should be able to beat it, and it gets wiped out. The crew of the Rocinante escape by getting on I'm totally simplifying this, but they get on a Mars battleship, basically, and this is what becomes the Rocinante. They escape, and all hell breaks loose after that. They're kind of on the run. They have no sides, and Holden, and this becomes a thing in the books, and it becomes a thing in the show. Decide you can broadcast everywhere. There's like a super YouTube where you can, if you have the credentials, you can broadcast live so you don't have to be a network. And he broadcasts live to everybody in the outer planets and everything, and tells people exactly what happens. And you know, and it almost starts a war. Yeah, he says we were attacked by these stealth ships, stealth technology, and you know, it almost brings Mars to war with Earth, and that's where we meet Christina Avasarala, who is played by oh my god, I'm gonna Soren Agadushlu. Sorry, it's so bad. She has been in a lot of stuff. She is awesome. She's the best thing in this show, and she's this foul-mouthed diplomat. And so we've got all these separate factions who are separate factions who are separated, of course, duh. And they all are going to meet at some point, and that's how the show started. We're going to cover the show in our premiere podcast. I watched one episode. I'm like, we're totally covering the show. I watched the first season in one night. After I watched that, I went on Audible, downloaded all the books, went to Amazon, bought all the books. I have both read and listened to all of them. My entire family has listened to the first three. We went on this huge road trip, and I told this story before. We were at our destination, and my family wanted to keep driving around the block so we could listen to the rest of these books. I will get to the chat now, to the people who love Expanse. And so we're starting this. It starts 9 p.m. Pacific time on Wednesday. Dennis and I think my wife will be on too. We'll be covering it extensively, because it is such a great show. We're you know, the Holden thing resolves. I'm not going to go over the whole show, but my favorite episode is Home, and it's not Holden, it's Detective Miller's last episode, and there is a special effects scene at the end of that holds up to any sci-fi movie I've ever seen, where Detective Miller's with Julie Mao. And yeah, I don't want to ruin it for you, but the music of that scene, the effects of that scene, if I challenge you not to get a little tear in your eye if you watch the whole show and you get involved in the characters. Like, it's epic. That was as good as anything Battlestar Galactica has done. Now, I'm not saying the show is better than BSG. It depends on how this season plays out, because it's up there. It's perfect. If you're a Battlestar Galactica fan, you're not watching the show, you'll love it. It's in your wheelhouse. It's in your wheelhouse. Apple says Expanse. And they're talking about Anson Mount. You know, I see Spock's name. I think they're gonna put Spock in the series, ladies and gentlemen. I think they're gonna put it in Star Trek Discovery, and I'd be really interesting to see how you feel about that. And you know, who would you get to play him? So again, I'll ask this question again. Have you read or listened to all the audiobooks? Or are you going to talk about future events? I will. I just read Persepolis Rising. Again, there's two books I have major problems with. I'll be honest with you. That is one of them, and Babylon's Ashes. In particular, the character of Michio Pao. Michio Pao is she becomes a leader of the OPA pretty much in the end. But there is something that's so horrible. I mean, just think of the Holocaust times 50 happens eventually, right? And we're supposed to follow her as kind of a protagonist, but she is definitely on the bad side. And how she's portrayed in that book is kind of weird to me. It's just weird to me. But otherwise, my favorite book is, oh my gosh, that's going to be hard. Leviathan Wakes has got to be probably my favorite. I don't know. I'll have to get back to you on that. I kind of like the one. I like Nemesis Games. I think because Nemesis Games is the one book that follows all of the characters on the Rocinante. It's the one time we get in everybody's head. Because most of the time we're just following Holden. There's some side books, you know, too, but and Amos is obviously my favorite character. I love freaking Amos. Although I'm kind of liking Bobby now too. Bobby Draper, who's the giant Martian girl. In the books, she's like 6'5", 6'6", 250, all muscle, Polynesian, like uber soldier, and she has basically an Iron Man suit that she wears sometimes. The Mars military has, and so does Earth, but Mars has better versions of these like mech suits that are pretty gnarly. And they do a good job with them on the TV show. So we'll get to the chat here. Enough of me talking. All right. Alexander, it was such a relief when I found the Free Folk on Reddit. Free Folk Reddit is so wonderful, Alexandra. I'm a member. I show up in there once in a while. And I don't know. Have you ever seen Game of Thrones shows early? Because that's where you can see them. Anytime somebody makes a mistake, HBO makes a lot of them too. It happened like twice last season and like 3 times in season 6 where the episode got leaked early. I remember that happened with the Hodor episode. Oh my God. That one was harsh, by the way. Oh my God, that was such a good episode. All right. Yes, much like the colonies for the Belters are like the colonies fighting for independence. They are led by many people, actually, but one of their leaders is Fred Johnson, who is a former Earth Marine who was part of a massacre and felt set up by Earth and ended up turning on Earth. But he's actually good. You know, he's still a politician, but in his heart, he's good. He's trying to bring the Belters to the table, where Earth and Mars still see them as just, you know, you're our workers and the OPA is a revolutionary group. And they really play on that. And how it's like Game of Thrones is you have these 3 factions just warring with each other, never getting along. And the thing the thing I failed to mention was the big bad, or the supposed big bad, is the Proto Molecule. So that big brown gooky thing with all the bodies that was wrapped around a nuclear generator on the scapulae. Was that the name of the ship? What Julia Mao was on? It's a Proto Molecule, and what it looks like at first is just and it's alien. It's an alien blue spark or whatever that when it gets on people or anything, it morphs it into something it needs. So it can take over, it's an infection that turns you into a tool. So it's neither good nor evil. It just is. And it's not necessarily sentient. It's very mysterious, but it's basically the others in Game of Thrones. So it's the Proto Molecule, and that's what the Earthers called it. That's not its technical name. We know it's ancient and it came from somewhere else, and we're not sure. But if I went any further, I would totally be spoiling the end of season 2, which I will not do. But I will tell you, if you think you're on the bubble for this show for season 3, I've read all the books. I know you're going to get 2 possible shocking endings that are going to make you want a season 4 so bad that you might revolt in the streets if Sci-Fi ever threatens to cancel that show, because the ending for this season will be the ending to end all endings, in my humble opinion. I do not watch Colony. Steve Nyman, is Colony good? My wife watches Colony. My wife, she actually watches more TV than I do. She's a big fan of the 100. I think the second book is the best. Bobby kicking some asses, Apple Crow. Bobby's awesome. Yeah, there's nothing not to like about Bobby. She's everything you like in a character. She's not perfect. As a matter of fact, she gets caught in a series of events that's so screwed up, and she's suffering. She starts out suffering from PTSD. Well, you've seen it in the show. Like she loses her entire crew. They get massacred, and she's the lone survivor. So she's got survivor's guilt, and she's dealing with that. She's basically suicidal at this point, and she works out of it thanks to our friend Christina Avzarala. I'm going to do my best. Jefferson Mays is the guy who narrates the books, and he says Avasarala. Avasarala is awesomer. She is. I wish she actually existed in this world. I really do. I think the world would be a better place. I see Flat Earther in there. We'll get into that stuff when we get to our Ancient Alien segment of today's show. I'm going to make that a thing. I hope you guys don't hate it because I love talking about that stuff. I went to Contact in the Desert last year by myself. That was a trip. Oh my God, that was weird. There are some panels I went to. I'm like, ooh, this is even too weird for me. So, oh, I knew all season 7 before it, but discovered during the. Oh yeah. Okay. Oh, knew all in season 7 before it aired, but discovered them during the Hodor moment. But I also like that I can ask whatever on A Song of Ice and Fire without worrying about spoiler tags and shit. Yeah, Free Folk is we do not kneel. We do not kneel. Don't be a kneeler. The Free Folk was starting to get full of kneelers last year, and they got flushed out, which was nice. Although Reddit, I don't know, Reddit's not as cool as it used to be to me. Yeah, it can be a very nasty place, and so can I don't go to 4chan, but that's the internet, though. I don't know. That's the internet. The horror episode was devastating. I was never attached to that character, but damn, that was ripping your heart out. However you felt about Hodor, that ending and that music was great and brutal. I love the reaction videos for that are so good, especially that one in the bar on the East Coast. If you guys have seen that, I can't remember the name of the bar where everybody is just fucking crying. It's so funny. Rebirth Mortal Comics. What's up? What's up? I thought that episode was ridiculous. Somewhere almost looked like he was thrown to the whites rather than attacking them. I like the episode, Apple Crow. I very much disliked how they got rid of the direwolves. And that's when we started seeing chinks in the armor with the TV show. Because when the books end, you're going to see, for one, how important the direwolves are. Like, throwing them away was I equate it to them not doing more of the house elf stuff in Harry Potter. I know some people didn't like that, but it turned out to be pretty important in the end. So I don't know. Flat earthers. Flat earthers. The Expanse is something you should be excited about, and if you haven't seen it, it is on Amazon Prime. So if you got your Amazon Prime membership, you can watch them all, and I highly recommend it because it is good stuff. We will be running a contest for the Expanse this year. So if you leave a comment in the chat or in the comments, your name goes into a hat at the end of this, at the second to last episode of the season. We pull a name out of the hat, and you're going to win the Expanse season 1 and 2 on Blu-ray. Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. And probably an Amazon gift card in that too. And this is not sponsored by Amazon. That's something I buy. I'm not an American. Flat Earth is not something that's exclusively American, but I can see why you would think it would come from us. I'm not sure I'm missing all that flat Earth trend coming about. It's silliness. It's outright silliness. And it's yes, the internet is dark and full of terrors. Feisty Fan, it is. Yes, it is. That was good. That was good. The flat earth thing is, I don't even want entertainment. It's I think it exists so people can just make YouTube videos making fun of people, because we still in our hearts want to give people shit. And it's getting harder and harder these days because, let's face it, some people are pretty sensitive out there. I like to sling a quip and give people shit, all in good fun. I don't like to do it out of maliciousness, and I do not mind it if people do it to me. Oh my God. You should hear the conversations between my wife and I. It's funny because, like, even our kids who have lived with us all their lives go, are mom and dad arguing right now, or are they just talking? And because my wife and I rarely argue, like rarely, but we just sling shit all day because it's kind of fun. Um, so yeah, it's yeah, you just have to see. Maybe we'll do a little bit of it on Westworld. We're always kind of on our best behavior on the internet, but I don't know. If she's on enough, you'll see, her giving me shit. It's pretty good. It's pretty good. I put my wife up with the best with the quip. She has the ability to sum things up perfectly and slice you down like razor blades. She's got like a razor tongue. Um, I didn't see the idea was new. Just me able to organize and publicize a lot easier now. I don't know what that's referred to. I'm sorry. Oh, there goes there. It comes from social media, allowing any group or to organize better. Dunning-Kruger in full effect. At Neurotic, my husband and I do the same. Yes, it's all out of love. You got. I mean, plus you're with each other all the time, all the time. Although I'm kind of I've known my wife for damn near 40 years. So yeah, now 35 years, 35 years. That's almost 40 years. That's a long fucking time. We haven't been married that long, but I can't call it high school sweethearts either because neither of us went to high school. I'm sure you can tell by my reading and spelling abilities. I always have to edit our descriptions in the video like 5 or 6 times. Oh, and later on, I'm gonna get Jody, our Jody, who is the moderator in our chat, shot me some stuff from a channel I had never seen before, to be honest with you. But I know who the Nostalgia Critic is. But apparently, there's some like major drama. So I read through it, and it wasn't the drama that hooked me. It was what happened afterwards, which I'm going to talk about later when we get into our less positive comics. Hey, Comics Division, what's up? Yeah, at least your wife. Well, my wife hasn't seen Last Jedi, but your wife did and did not like it. We had a great Star Wars conversation last night. You know what? The comics, we should have kept recording, dude. Because like we stayed on for another 45 minutes after the show, and that was just as good. It was really entertaining. Switchpoint's cool. Switchpoint's cool. Work hard, Comics Division. He's working and listening to me. So how many of you out there have seen The Expanse? Have you seen the show? Do you like it? Do you think I'm full of shit? I have seen the ridiculousness of calling it SJW, which it's not. I think The Expanse is actually how you do the quote unquote diversity thing right, and how you do politics right, because it does present every side. The authors are definitely one-sided. Okay, they're definitely firmly on one side if you see their Twitter account, but they're also really nice. If you at them and are respectful, they're very cool. And they're under the pseudonym of James S.A. Corey. And I think the show is done so even-handedly, and it's a great thing to show, because it basically, the future is the UN takes over the earth, and half the earth. So you would think, oh, it's the UN utopia. Nope, because aside from the UN taking over the earth, pretty much half the earth, correct me if I'm wrong, those of you who've read the books, what is it? A third of the earth's population or half the earth's population is on something called basic, which is welfare. But it's horrible to be on, because it is what it says it is. It's basic. It gives you just enough money for your toothpaste. There's a lot of people who live homeless. The resources are depleted. It's a fucked place. It can fit really well into the Firefly universe, actually, if you think about it. And it deals with the politics, and it's got 3, 4, 5, 8 sides. And James Holden, the reason I like him, a lot of people don't like him, I love him, is because he's on his side, and he's on the side of what he perceives to be right. Now, he's a sanctimonious a-hole sometimes, but he's a nice one. He comes from a good place. But he's got his friends back. And that's the side we always want to be on, is having your friends and families back. The funny thing about James Holden is he's got 8 parents. So they to get around some tax law, 8 people donated some DNA and made a kid. Like, one woman carried it, but it was made from 8 different people, so they could buy land. So they had a kid so they could buy some land in Montana, which is really cool. I thought that was an interesting concept. Hello, Penn Farm Girl. How are you? And that is just one of the many, many, many details they get into. They, without being boring, they don't have limitless resources. Like, they only have so many ships. And when there's a war, like, there's less ships. There isn't like this constant warring going on. Like, there's a big battle in one of the books, and both Mars and Earth are left absolutely depleted and vulnerable. And somebody takes advantage of that pretty harshly. In Nemesis games made me think of something as a weapon that, honestly, I mean, it's right out there too, that I've never thought of before, which is really freaking scary once we start getting into space. And without telling you what happened, they have rail guns. So they have these big tungsten bullets that they fire off, and it blows holes into ships and stuff. But if you get like a big enough tungsten, like, not bullet, but like missile, or like projectile, and you just slingshot that shit to Earth, it will cause a lot of damage. And that doesn't require any, it requires a spaceship and something to create momentum, and you can just bombard a planet and destroy it without using big expensive nuclear weapons or anything like that. You just use rocks. And it was really interesting and kind of freaky. And that's why that's the best book. Get yourself to that book. Gets a little wonky after that, in my opinion, but it's pretty amazing. Rod from the Gods, not unique to the Expanse. It's not. And that's why Apple Crow. That's why I love having you guys out there. I have not read like every sci-fi book. I've read a shit ton of comics, not a lot of books. When I do pick up, like, I've read everything Stephen King up to a certain point. I'm currently going through everything George R. R. Martin I can find. I've read all the Expanse books. I've read all the Douglas Adams books, and a lot of woo-woo books, a lot of Graham Hancock and Eric Von Daniken and David Hatcher Childress and stuff like that. But not a lot of sci-fi, less than I should. Like, I haven't read Dune, and I know I need to. I really do. Someday. And I was supposed to read it for school. I cheated. A friend of mine did the report for me. Sorry. I don't know, man. I couldn't do it. Not that enough back then. I was too busy reading comic books. So The Expanse is a wonderful show. You should, but give it a shot. Try it. See if you like it. We'll be covering it Wednesday, 9:15 p.m. We are all over that shit because I cannot wait. Okay. So what do we got to talk? Let's go over. Let me go to the chat a little bit. Zev Bellringer says season 1 and 2 are on Netflix in the UK. Even better. Amazon Prime is actually a pretty freaking good deal. I hate to back Amazon because I kind of see them as the Walmart of the internet, but you got to do what you got to do, and they will be coming into play in a conversation we're going to have later. And if we're lucky enough, Feisty Fan will come in and join us, because there is some, in my opinion, some pretty major comic book news that came from a video that I saw. I Love Comics at Englentine did yesterday. Yeah. Crap. I guess we could talk about it now. So we'll end positive because this is kind of sucky news. So let's go to Bleeding Cool. So sorry. Apologies on that one. And hopefully it won't freaking freeze up my computer because this site does that. It's so bad. But let's go to Bleeding Cool. And our friend Reach Johnston. But he is talking about an actual friend of mine. So Brian Hibbs. Brian Hibbs, I'll start out by saying, I've said it before, is good for comic books. He's good for comic book retailers. He's got the best interest of retailers at heart. Yes, he is a businessman. He's going to look out for his business first, as he should. But he genuinely, when I worked with him, he was very instrumental in helping me get started. He answered all my questions. He put himself out for. He's like, listen, if you need any help, I'm here for you. And of course, I'm suspicious of that at first. It's like there's a competitor offering to help me. Yeah. Turns out it was genuine. It was genuine. And it, like in hindsight, I think about it, like what the hell was he worried about with me? So he's been retailing for 30 years now. He's part of the original Comix and Comix in San Francisco. San Francisco has a long, rich history of comic stores. Actually, the very first comic store came from San Francisco Comix in Gary, Arlington. This is the generation that Brian is from. And the fall of Comix and Comix is quite epic. I think he worked there. I don't know. I'm not entirely sure what his affiliation was with Comix and Comix, to be honest with you. But they were a big chain of comic stores that was around and then came to a very sudden and horrible end due to some shysterism. Not committed by Brian Hibbs or any of the or Frank at Amazing Fantasy, which came out of that too. Those are good dudes, really good dudes. All right, so here is the article. And Feisty, be ready. I can't see the chat right now, but when I'm done with this, if you're ready, I'll send you the link. Once upon a time in 2002, comic book retailer Brian Hibbs of Comix Experience in San Francisco launched a class action lawsuit against Marvel Comics over their lack of adherence to Diamond Comic Distributors' rules over comic book latency. Marvel Comics was refusing to accept returns on books that shipped late or with creator changes that the retailers hadn't been informed of at the time. He got his way. Marvel started the Final Order Cutoff System, or FOC. The FOC system to allow retailers to make changes to any order closing to the shipping date, or any order closing to the shipping date, and to update the expected shipping dates and creator credits at points as well. Eventually, plenty of other publishers joined the scheme too. It wasn't a scheme, and now it is comic book industry standard. Yes, comic shops live and die by. To break it down, we get a list a couple weeks before the comic comes out, and we can adjust our ordering because sometimes their artists don't finish books, or they're late books, or a lot of reasons, or it's a hit book. Is my argument that they and the reason they continue using this is it's a sales tool. They sell more comics than lose them with Final Order Cutoff. Well, this appears to have a new thing after Marvel Comics addressed to the Diamond Retailer Summit. He has written a new letter to the new publisher of Marvel, the new EIC, and the less new VP of Sales, David Gabriel. The letter talks about Comixology 99-cent sales that have been running on all Marvel trade paperbacks, which Dennis, I'm going to interject here. Dennis the day it came out, Dennis shot that over to me. I didn't think it was a big deal at first because it was just some lower tier stuff, but let's continue. Hardcovers and collections on the same day they are released, and before every comic store even had a chance to open. That's bad. And I think that breaks the agreement, in my opinion. Bleeding Cool has repeatedly covered this story, which culminated this week with the $25 original graphic novel Thanos Infinity Siblings by Jim Starlin and Alan Davis, offered for sale on release day for 99 cents. So basically, you were able to get this on Amazon before the comic shop was allowed to sell it, because they get their books on Tuesdays, not allowed to sell them till Wednesday morning. Okay. Amazon, and there's an agreement with Diamond like with every comic shop. Like if a comic shop sells stuff on Tuesday, that's really bad, and you can lose your diamond account if you break that rule enough. And there's also listen, this agreement exists to keep comic shops afloat, okay? Because they're necessary. They remain necessary and will always be necessary. And I will get to my point in a second. Let me finish this up. At the summit, editor-in-chief CB Slabowski said that this was not down to Marvel, but down to Comixology and parent company Amazon, and that they have been in talks to get this changed. In talks, really. Bleeding Cool is running the letter in full. So let's get to the letter. And Englentine read this on his video, and I highly recommend that you go see his video. That inspired me to do this. I will link it in the description. The only reason I'm piping in on this is because I know Brian. I was extremely disappointed at Marvel Comics' performance at the Diamond Summit this week, not because of CB. He is very obviously has a heartfelt passion and concern for the line, but because of the lack of preparation for and proper response to retailers' sincere and existential threat from now a fifth week of wild undercutting on new this week book product coming from Amazon. It is utterly unacceptable that Marvel is allowing 96% plus off pricing on brand new books brand new books like Infinity Siblings. CB says you're trying to get to the bottom of this, quote unquote. This that you are in talks, quote unquote. This to me is kind of a situation that gets resolved in absolutely no more than 72 hours. And that's about 40 hours more than my heart tells me it really takes. And I agree with that because of the literal harm it is doing to the entire class of customers. And this affects every comic shop, online or brick and mortar. It does. It affects dealers at comic shows. It affects everybody because after 5 weeks where there has been reported far and wide, 5 weeks there has been that reporting is driving customers to digital at the expense of print. I have decided that as of this FOC, I'm no longer ordering. I guess ordering. I'm no longer ordering new Marvel graphic novels, and I've zeroed out my orders on all book format product published by Marvel at both of my stores. Okay, these are busy stores, by the way, in a major in the fourth largest media market in America, which is the Bay Area. You've got one of the bigger shops not carrying Marvel trades anymore. That's kind of a big deal to me, anyway. He emphasizes, I do not want to do this, but the way that Marvel has slow walked this tells me it's the only thing I can do. And I could not agree with him more. I would, if I was running a shop right now, I'd do the same thing. I'd do the exact same thing. There's still time to change this, ceasing this program and coming forward publicly with a full and completely transparent accounting of what happened. And I'll happily reinstate those orders, blissfully even. But my economic power of purchasing, even if it's only a fraction of Amazon's, is the only power I have. And there are plenty of other publishers wanting to sell me books that are bending over backwards for me, so I will have no problem filling my racks. That's true. And quite honestly, I'm going to interject something here. Some of this Marvel stuff ain't worth 99 cents. I don't know everything about what Amazon does and why, but in the years watching them, what CB described does not match any known behavior that I have observed, nor what I have been able to discuss with other publishers about the behaviors they have observed. CB's picture simply doesn't make any sense. Amazon does not take that kind of loss on any kind of a scale unless it is being made up in some other consideration from a manufacturer. I hope this is dealt with both promptly and publicly. I'd like to keep ordering new Marvel book stock. Thank you for listening. B, my boy B, Brian Hibbs. I'll get to the chat now. Feisty, are you ready? I can send you the link if you're ready. Let me get the link here. Please talk amongst yourselves. Or you know what? Tweet me your Gmail. That's easier. Getting to the messages. I want to bring up because hey, I haven't run a comic store for 4 years, so things have changed since then, and I'd really like to hear a current somebody who's running a shop currently, and there we go. There we go. We're going to bring on Feisty. We're going to stop presenting this stuff. Hi, everybody. And we're going to invite the Feisty Fan at an undisclosed location. Invitation out. In the meantime, this is brought to you by Pete's Coffee. Keeps Gary jacked up during his live streams. Promise not to refer myself in third person again. Hi, Feisty.
Hello.
So what do you think of that?
Where do I even begin? it's kind of like, yeah, I mean, we're seeing less and less Marvel trade sales anyway throughout the last couple months than anything else. So it's nice to know that this is the culprit, is undercutting same week releases of new product for 99 cents. Like, that's ridiculous.
And that has to break the agreement. I actually tore up my house this morning looking for my diamond agreement. I still have it. It's somewhere. And when I find it, we'll go over it. We can go over it. It's because I know that breaks it. Especially with the Infinity siblings. Now, you know what's behind the Infinity siblings, though. Jim Starlin left in a huff over that because it was too much like the current running Kate's Thanos, which was brilliant, by the way. And I think it was done also to kind of screw with Starlin a little bit there because he left very publicly. And, I totally agree with what he said. Yeah, that seems like a shady move on both sides.
I mean, if that's the case, though, they're putting retailers at the disadvantage. It's like, how are we going to compete with those pricing? Like, how?
You're not. You're simply not. You're going to have to do what Brian did. What Brian did was ballsy and brave, and not a lot of retailers want to rock the boat because who wants to get on the bad side of Marvel? But at this point, who gives a shit? Marvel has never been nice to retailers. We all know that. Okay, yeah. That's not a Disney thing. It's a Marvel thing. It's just how they've been. And I'm a huge Marvel fan.
So am I. So I'm right there with you.
Yeah, but DC's so much nicer. But now you're affecting real people. I mean, this is you working. This is affecting your pay, your job. Now, like you just had a sale at your store, right? A very successful one, by the way.
Yes.
And you worked your ass off, and congratulations.
Thank you.
How's this going to affect the next sale when you can't do 25, 50% off graphic novels? Because why? Marvel ones anyway.
We can't. Like, I mean, we were giving half off of trades at our sale on Saturday, and even then it was just to move old product. But we can't. I mean, we barely give a little bit of a discount on new graphic novels. We have a standard 10% off practice. Like, if you come into my shop and you pick up a trade, regardless if you're a subscriber or not, you're going to get a 10% discount because it's a good incentive to buy. But I can't knock 75% off because then I don't make any money. I don't even get back what we paid for the product.
No. And listen, digital, people are going to get digital anyway. I always thought digital could coexist with comic shops without a problem as long as there were rules in place. But I was not naive. I always knew someday they would do this. This would happen. And I talked about it 5 years ago, and I talked about something like this happening. I said, one day Comixology is just going to do it and see what happens, and consequences be damned, because once the dam breaks, there's not much you can do about it. If they start making a ton of money, if this 99-cent thing is making them money, now maybe there's a volume thing in here. Maybe their whole thinking is we're going to have 1 million people spend 99 cents. So that's like almost $1 million. It would have to be millions for them to really make any serious money to consider basically putting comic shops out of business. Yeah, we're taking it really far on this one, but this is
well, and not just that, but they're okay. So there's a problem with bootleg pirating with digital anyway. So making a new trade on release day, 99 cents. What? Yeah, then some asshole, of course, is going to probably put it up on what is it? I love, or I forget what the free comic books or whatever the site. I don't want to promote it, but whatever that free site is, someone's going to do it. So then, not only is Comixology going to lose sales from that one asshole, but it's mind blowing. Like, why would they do this to shops? Like, why?
Well, I think the answer's out there. They don't want.
They don't care. They don't care. They don't want them.
They flat out don't want them. I've always felt that way, and I think they feel tied down to shops now, and maybe that shops are even obstructing their growth. And it seems like, God, there was an article in IO9 that we talked about a couple weeks ago that almost was coordinated. It was a coordinated shot against comic shops. I know I'm going super tinfoil here, but it's kind of funny that the IO9 writes essentially a hit piece against comic shops, which was really dumb, by the way.
Yeah, I remember that too. It's like why I don't like brick and mortar comic book shops, but it sounded like I think you would said it too, is like the person sounds like they've got social anxiety anyway, because yeah, Comics division said the same thing as well.
Yep. And we were talking about that, the comics division. And it also sounds like that he went to like 2 comic stores, and they're all so different. You cannot judge them all. But writing that, and then this comes out. Listen, I'm paranoid of the media now. We were talking about this last night, especially the comic book media. There seems to be they're part of the same club. The media and creators used to be very separate. They used to not intermingle that much and not like each other. But now they're all part of the same group. And it's reeking of coordination. And yeah, that article coming out and this dropping, if something else, I mean, right now it's just a coincidence. So if some other stuff happens, then I'm going to start thinking, okay, maybe there is a push to like just bring in the digital age, just bring it in.
Yeah, well, I've once when you told me about this article and everything last night, because I was a little bit out of the loop for the last couple days, but I'm checking the super secret Marvel retailer Facebook page right now to see if anyone has said anything about this. So, let's see.
Oh,
nope.
They have. Oh, really?
Nope.
I wonder if I think you got to be a member of Comix Pro to get on the Comix Pro forums.
Yeah, it's you got to pay a due or something like that.
Yeah, I did that. It's a good forum to have. I don't know if Brian's helped start it, but I don't know if he's involved in it anymore. But he's definitely something. If he's open, I don't want to, to try to get in touch with if he's got time, because he's got the knowledge. He might, I was going to reach out to him. And I'm like, he's probably very busy right now. So, but hello, Brian, if you're watching, and Epic Letter, this is a big deal though, because Marvel is going to do anything first, and I don't believe for one second that Marvel's not behind this. That's complete and utter bullshit.
Yeah, why would they let something like that happen? I mean, I Marvel has to be behind this. They have to have some sort of deal or something. The only thing I see on the retailer is another Bleeding Cool article about Marvel's considering no incentive variants, which is fine, because I was just doing I think there's 30 different variants for Tony Stark Iron Man #1. Like, why do we need that many?
30?
30.
30.
Yeah, I'm going to post them on my Twitter here shortly. So
yeah, screw that. I mean, that's the point where, like, as a completist, as somebody who has every Iron Man issue, like, I'm not doing that.
Yeah.
Fuck it. I'm done. No way. That's interesting. I heard there was an article on Bleeding Cool, then it disappeared, where DC was saying the same thing, that they're getting rid of incentive variants too.
They never will. Well, the thing is with incentive variants is the only thing I've seen in the last year is the DC Nation #0. They have 2 or 3 other variants available, but it's at like a volume where people are going to buy it anyway, because I think we ordered 500 copies just because it's a 25-cent book. So it's like, what, it's not going to affect cost as much, but I think you had to order 100 of one and then 250 of one and then 500 of one. So it's like, okay, whatever. But that's like extreme crazy volume, which is fine. Like for a 25-cent book, that's understandable.
Yep.
But usually it's 50-50 variants normally. So sometimes they offer an extra cover, but you don't have to meet the extreme crazy amounts of X title of this, or meet 55% of a complete different title. Like that doesn't even have to do with anything towards an incentive variant. So it's like, you got to make sure you ordered at least like 35 or surpass the 35 copies you ordered of Squirrel Girl #5, or I'm just using that as a way, different example, but the incentive thing with Marvel is kind of ridiculous. But
30. That is mind-boggling.
Yeah, I'll post the list up here shortly. So
Doctor Who did that. That pissed me off with the Doctor Who comics. But I mean, they made them. You can get them all. Like you didn't have to get it. Like you can go online and get them at Titan and stuff. But that knocked me out of Doctor Who too. They did like 50 variants for one when Titan started them, and I was like, get the fuck out of here.
Yeah.
No way. But
Marvel has to be behind this. There has to be some kind of deal cut, because it doesn't make any sense otherwise.
No, and hey, it sucks, because I would scream to every shop, do what Brian's doing right now. That's the only way you're going to change this. That's the only way you're going to stop this, is if every goddamn shop said zero out Marvel, and that would get their attention. And I believe me, it would be less than 24 minutes, and that policy would be changed. Problem is, shops are not in a position. This is why it's so fucked up. Shops are not in a position to do that right now. They can't be playing around. Brian is fortunate because he's been around a long time and he knows the freaking business, and he's kind of a master with numbers with that stuff. Not every shop can do that. And I don't think he would ask every shop to do that. That's not something I'm saying he would ask, but I would say, like, if you can, like, lower them, do subscriber specific, and not with the floppies, but with the trades. And honestly, at least in my shop, I don't know about yours, Marvel trades did okay, but they never were my top selling trade. DC trades killed Marvel trades.
Yeah, DC trades. I think what our Marvel section of trades is, I think, 2 bookshelves, while our DC section is like 4 or 5. Yeah. So yeah, whatever. We only order 1 or 2 copies of trades as it is, and then it goes to special order after that. But the fact of the matter is it's still, that's 2 people. Like, that's what a normal trade goes for about $20. That's still like $40 that we're gonna miss out on. It's still, but how many 2,500 stores like that? I don't know. That's a business killer.
Yeah. Amazon did something shady in 2011, because Brian had referred to, like, he's been watching Amazon. They haven't normally done this. And honestly, they haven't. When it comes to book selling and going down that cheap, they have not. That's very, very unusual. The only other shady thing I can think that Amazon did, and I can't remember it perfectly, correct me in the chat if you guys remember this. This happened in 2011, 2012. And it was with a barcode scanner, and they were sending in Amazon Prime members, or just Amazon members, that if you went in and scanned a barcode at a bookstore, at a mom and pop bookstore, like, they would match the price or something like that, or match it, or it was like a price matching thing. But they wanted you to go to small business. They didn't tell you to go to Barnes and Noble. They told you to go to your local bookstore. And the conspiracy theorists thought it was some kind of a way to data mine. Again, all you were using the bar scanner. So I heard this, and I saw people taking pictures. And for a little while, I made it like you had to ask permission to take a picture of anything in the store, and you couldn't bar scan anything. Like, if I saw a bar scanner come out, you were out. Bye-bye.
Yeah. Some people will, because I push the app CLZ Comix, and some people will just automatically, like, catalog their books in the store, and I'm fine with that. Whatever.
Applecrow's got it. Thank you, Applecrow. God bless you, man. Scan price and get a 10% coupon. And yes, people came into Barnes & Noble when they did. I'm sure they did. And I think Borders was still around back then too. how that was shady. That was super shady. I was so mad at Amazon. I know this sounds terrible. I didn't order anything from them for a whole year. And then I backed out on it because I was a wuss. I was like, oh, but I want a Blu-ray. And it's so convenient. But again, kudos to Brian Hibbs. And
seriously,
yeah, kudos to Brian Hibbs. And when Brian bought my store, he essentially bailed me out. Okay, I'm gonna stay. There's a story for that. That's a video for another day. And I will be 100% honest. The dude bailed me out. And honestly, I wasn't as grateful as I could have been. But hopefully he knows how grateful I am to him and what he did for keeping the store there. And it's still there. And he kept on a couple of my employees. And it was really cool, to be honest with you. So he is a good dude. There's some people who might say otherwise. I heartily and respectfully disagree. I think Brian Hibbs is very good for comics, and so is Feisty Fan. Feisty Fan comes on. You're all over the place, Feisty Fan, because you're needed right now. You're a positive voice in comic retailing. There's a current culture war going on in comics, which I won't get into.
Well, thank you. I really appreciate it. So
no, yeah, I think you're really important to this. And it's nice to hear. I started piping in because no retailers were piping into our community, on here on the Nerdrotic channel, but more so on I Love Comics and Comics Division. I didn't hear any retailers piping in, and it's good that you came in, a current retailer who's going to be an owner very soon. So, yes. I mean, yeah, you're going to have a piece of the pie, and you're essentially running your shop in the undisclosed location. Yeah. And it's really important that we start talking about this stuff. And I'm glad, hey, I'll even be grateful to Bleeding Cool for putting out an article that was supportive of this. And we need more of those.
I mean, as much as I hate giving them clicks, they do have a couple that are basically whistleblowers to what the hell is what's going on behind the scenes. And not a lot of people know. And I'm sorry, it's 25 variants for Tony Stark Iron Man, not 30, but still, that's
okay. Well, then I'm in. It's only 25.
It's only 25.
Is it a $4.99 book or a $3.99 book?
Let me see. $4.99.
Holy, okay. I got to go to a calculator because high school dropout. So
I can't even take a screenshot of the whole list. Like, I got to break it down into like 2.
That's $125 if you want to get all the variants without tax. That's before tax. If you pay tax here in the city of San Francisco, it is almost 10%, I believe. 10%. What's the tax in? Oh no, don't say that. Never mind. I take that question back. I'm sure it's high. It's Viking Bitch says, I have to go teach an anger management class. Can I go? Keep talking and I'll be back in an hour. I will keep talking, Viking Bitch. You go teach that. She's needed too with anger management.
I need that sometimes.
We go to meetings. I go to meetings.
I go to meetings too.
That's my anger management. Pem Farm Girl says we'll try to keep them going. No, you know what's going to keep me going? Pete's is going to keep me going. This is my second one today. I want to buff my floors right now. If my jaw starts doing this, you'll know I'm tweaking. That's funny. So, final words here, Feisty Fan, before I get off into Ancient Aliens. Also, for one, let's talk about, are you going to be on any stream soon? You just did one last night. Let's talk about that real quick.
Oh, yeah. So me and what is it? Danger Reporter, what Roulette Productions do a Sunday show where each of us pick 3 books, two comics that we read. Like, it's odd, so it's not we don't put any of the big 2, or even we might put an Image, but mostly we do indie books, stuff that's not particularly marketed or people don't know about. So we both pick 2 to review and then 1 to sell to each other. So it's a good way. We try to keep it lighthearted, fun, and positive, so that way it's a good way to end the week on. So and then me and you are going to be on Comics Division on Thursday, and then Saturday We got the throwdown on the Thunderdome.
Oh, it's on. So enjoy the niceness right now and next Thursday. Because as you requested, gloves are off. Gloves are off. I'm already training. I need a young priest, an old priest. I'm eating 3 live chickens a day.
That's awesome.
When I'm running a mile and smoking 2 packs of cigarettes, I'll be so ready.
It's on.
You're going down. The Comix division. He's in our chat. He's busy at work. Hi, Comix. How are you? Subscribe to Comix division. You need to subscribe to Comix division. I'm going to say that every. There's so many channels, but he is really one that stands out to me that need to be bigger. And YouTube changed their policy, and I don't like to bash YouTube too much, but that 1,000 subscriber thing for the monetization, and it's not for the money. And Comix will even agree with this. It's for the exposure. I would not monetize any of my videos if I thought we were getting the same exposure as people who monetize, but we're not. So that's why I want you to subscribe to Comix. Plus, he's cool, man. Oh yeah, I know you're good. Yeah. So yeah, definitely check him out. It's worth it. It's worth it. So yeah, so we will see you Thursday. I'm gonna carry on with Ancient Aliens now. I'm also gonna what we just did, you and I'm gonna segment it out into a separate video so we can get it out there in the ether. And I will try to reach out to Brian and see if he's got any further comment.
Yeah, I'd love to hear his take on. I mean, rather than that open letter, still hearing his rage and upset, or however he is, calm and collected or grumpy, it would be interesting. But yeah, thanks for letting me come on for this little segment.
Yeah, you are always welcome here, Feisty Fan. And we're going to talk Farscape soon too, right?
Yes,
Farscape?
Yes, we are. Farscape.
So that I won't be solo on Farscape anymore. That's good because I was stammering yesterday. But Feisty Fan, have fun with the FOC. Don't get fucked.
Yeah, FOC's done, so I'm starting my initial monthly order for June. So that's what I'm dealing with, and I'll post this list of the variants that are coming too. So yay!
Go to her. Dang it! What's your Twitter? Sorry, what's your Twitter?
Feisty Comic Fan.
At Feisty Comic Fan. She posts all that stuff up. She's really good on Twitter, and again, she's amazing. She is the wonderful Feisty Fan. Thank you, Feisty.
Thank you. Take care, guys. I'll be in chat.
Bye.
Bye.
Oh, isn't she great? God damn it. She really is. Comics division, you like Farscape too? Yeah, I'm an idiot. I missed that show. I am such a freaking moron. Yeah, because I love it, dude. I'm in like 2 episodes in. I've actually sneaked ahead a little bit. Okay. Season 1's amazing. So I'm getting it to Feisty Fan, and I'm gonna let her catch up before we do the next one, and then her and I will probably just talk about season 1. So, yeah, as overall, because I mentioned the doing the individual podcast to Mrs. Nerdrotic, and she vetoed that pretty hard. So you know, gotta do what you gotta do. Yeah. So okay, now we're gonna get weird, Mama. Let's get weird, Mama. Let's get a little weird. This is just gonna be. I didn't do as much research on this as I would have liked to. But this really blew my mind, man. This blew my mind. Now, I know some of you out there, we talked a little Ancient Aliens. Love the Eric Von Daniken. There's so many names out there, and there's so many good YouTube videos. Brian Forrester. Graham Hancock, to me, is kind of my favorite. So with the Ancient Aliens thing, I've always been in the UFO and stuff because I've always been an art bell. Okay, been an art bell since the early 90s. And the Learning Channel used to always do UFO documentaries and stuff. And that like morphed into the Ancient Aliens channel, which was started through Giorgio Tsoukalos, who is I think it's a Norwegian or Danish Greek. I met him through a mutual friend named Kat. Who is a giant of a man. He looks like a Norse god, basically. Met him in film school, and Giorgio was staying at his house, and we did a little video, which I think which started out as the pitch for Ancient Aliens. I just did lighting on it, so I was just there along for the ride. Kat was kind enough to invite me. They were happy with what I did lighting wise, and honestly, it was like the second time. I just took a class the day before, and it was my second time doing lighting. It turned out okay. Maybe I'll pop the video up. Giorgio is such a cool dude. We ended up talking. We shot all day, hung out, talked after that, and I saw him recently for the first time in a couple 3-4 years at Contact in the Desert. And again, I was kind of standoffish. I didn't want to bug the man. He, we came over. We talked for like a half an hour. He invited me to dinner, and of course, I didn't go because I didn't know anybody there, and I didn't want to be awkward. And I actually had to podcast that night. I podcast from the road. So I love me some Ancient Aliens, but it's taken me down a road. See, at first I was like, oh, that's interesting with the whole Eric Von Daniken. And remember with Eric Von Daniken is he never says anything definitively. He always asks everything as a question. Even look at the title. It's Chariots of the Gods. It's a question mark at the end. I didn't know that pretty much everybody got this from somebody else. And I just found this like over the weekend. And I don't know if you guys have ever done this, but it used to be before my YouTube days, I would hit Wikipedia and go, what Wikipedia surfing. So I would just like hit links within links within links and just see where it took me. So I would start out at looking at the pyramids and in Nome, Alaska. It just like it'd be random as hell. So I do that with YouTube, and I hit my auto replay at work. So I'm at work doing my worky stuff, and I didn't really interact with people verbally very much at work. It's all on computer and Skype. And so I just put my headphones on and I work. And YouTube took me, I started out with a Brian Forster video, and then I went to a David Hatcher Childress video. Both were like 2 hours long. And then it brought me on to Marcus Allen, not the football player, but the publisher of Nexus. He's a big time moon landing denier. I am not. I believe we have gone to the moon. But he did a great thing. It was called The Heretic Scientist. I'm like, oh, who's this? Who's this? And it was, I had his Wikipedia page up. It's this guy. It's this guy. And we'll get there. And it's Worlds in Collusion by Immanuel Velikovsky. Now, Immanuel Velikovsky went to school with Einstein. I mean, this isn't a crackpot. This guy he's called a crackpot by a lot of people, but if you look at his education, it's pretty insane. Again, went to school with Einstein. Einstein kept him at arm's length at some point, and apparently this was huge in the 60s. So a lot of hippies, when they were reading Lord of the Rings and Summer Lovin' and dropping acid and making Generation X babies, they were into this guy too. And it's called Worlds in Collusion. And to sum up his theory a little bit, that Earth, all the planets used to be really close together. Venus is a comet, and this is all from mythology. So all mythology is based in some sort of truth, and I'm sure there's a lot of people who believe that. I'm the one who believes that. So what and I'm breaking this down without having read this book. I've just listened to a lot of lectures on this book. Is a lot of the Roman and Greek gods were taken from literally the planets. The gods were the planets, and what the myths, what like Ragnarok is a interpretation of the end of the world. There's another good documentary by David Talbot. It's not great. It actually runs a little too long. It's called Remembering the End of the World. And in this book and in that documentary, and even Graham Hancock has talked about this, we are a society with amnesia. We have a shared trauma that we still remember from a very traumatic experience that happened roughly 12,000 years ago. There's a lot of evidence to this. Again, not a scientist. So, mass extinctions of the larger mammals. This all happened towards the end of the last ice age. This stuff fascinated me. So I've gone from thinking it was aliens who built the pyramids. I don't know if I thought that. I'm just like, it's a possibility. To thinking that the whole Atlantis theory, and not like a bunch of spaceships in a futuristic society. Like, there is the possibility that a very advanced society existed before the ice age. And there is some evidence, some crazy evidence out there to kind of relate that. For one, similarities between cultures that were thousands of miles apart in times where there were reed boats and we were supposedly not be able to cross oceans and stuff. But the similarity between the pyramids, the similarity to statues in the same position, holding the same kind of bag. There's those, David Hatcher Childress loves to point out in these giant megalithic rocks, there's these shapes where they used to pour molten metal, and he calls them key shapes. They're shaped like a key. And you see that shape in like Bolivia, and you see it in Egypt. And it's the same damn thing. It's and I can't show videos. I don't want to get a copyright strike, or I'd show you guys a bunch of videos. But I'll link them all in there. And this has been kind of an obsession with me lately. Okay. To the point where I booked myself on one of Brian Forrester's trips. I'm going to go to Peru, and the wife is on board to this and stuff. And this is really cool. And I'm going to go out there. We're going to go to Machu Picchu, and I want to go to Pumapunku. And the one that got me was the hexagonal wall in, is it Bolivia? Oh yeah. Here, I'll get that picture up. Stone. I mean, some people don't give a shit about this. I do. I think it's some people are just genuinely like, whatever, And I see that. But you see a stone like this, and it was made. Again, you can't age stone, right? So you got this damn thing right here. Okay. Why would you make that? That is so insane to me. And that was not cut with like chicken bone, as Giorgio likes to say. And this is the thing that really made me go, wait, no fucking way. And I want to see this. And they, Brian Forrester and a lot of people make a really good point of, you see the masonry on top of this wall, and it's worse. As the wall gets higher, the worse it gets. And it's like a lot of stuff has been built on top of. And again, I'm not going to go over it. Just watch some Grant Hancock videos. But I think it's something that's really freaking interesting. And what's the end point of it? I have no idea. So there was an advanced Stone Age society prior to the Ice Age that has been completely wiped out. The flood myth is, almost every culture has a flood myth. That's not a coincidence. I mean, something bad happened. If you drive around enough in America, in the Western United States, I just did a big road trip across Nevada, New Mexico, Texas, Arizona. And you look at the Arizona desert, especially when you're driving on I-40, and it looks like it got washed away. Like there's even like little islands in the middle of the what I mean is like, it looks like, when a bunch of water rushes over the beach and it leaves some parts in the sand higher, it looks like that in Arizona. It's pretty nuts. There's the Scablands up in Washington, with these giant dry falls that are like 20 times the size of Niagara Falls, that formed I'm forgetting the ancient geometry guy, forgot his name. He said it formed in 2 weeks. So there's a lot of theories on what happened. Either maybe a comet hit us or it was a solar flare. But you know what really did get me thinking of that? It was that meteor in Russia from like 3 years ago. And I watched the video of that. That was insane. With the sound wave coming like almost a minute after the thing exploded, and it hurt a bunch of people and blew out a bunch of windows. I've been to, Randall Carlson. Thank you, Danteus. Randall Carlson. That guy's a freaking genius. Again, self-taught. A lot of these guys are they do this on their own time. And therefore they're not trapped by academia. They're free to come up with the crazy ass theories. And not all of them are good and all of them are true. But then you got a couple of guys who are out there who are professors, like Robert Schoch is a professor, who believe somewhat in this theory too. And the theory is just man and culture and civilization is older than we're being told. And I don't think that's really that radical, to be honest with you. I think it makes a lot of sense. The Sphinx is a lot older than they say it is, and they've come out and proved it. You know, Chris Dunn, Robert Schoch, John Anthony West, may he rest in peace, just passed away. Yeah, so you guys know who I'm talking about. Like, these are legit theories beyond the ancient. Like, even if ancient, and even Giorgio was talking about this, is like, even if you don't believe in the aliens thing, if it gets you thinking about an ancient culture and how far our civilization goes back, and how like Sumeria kind of doesn't make sense, and now Gobekli Tepe comes up and throws a monkey wrench in freaking everything. And they've only like excavated 5% of that. That thing is huge. But if you go to Stonehenge, you look at Gobekli Tepe, looks better than Stonehenge, looks way better, but it's 6,000 years older. Now, Stonehenge looks like it got knocked over, not by people, and it could have been, they could have used that wanted to use the rocks for some home. I mean, who knows? It's been thousands of years. But a lot of these sites, like Pumapunku, looks like it was knocked over by a bunch of water. That a lot of stuff is buried in mud. You know, if you look around just the world outside your window, even, you know, even here in the Bay Area and up towards Washington and stuff, just look at the coastline. It's all cracked up, and like something happened. And a lot of somethings have happened. A lot of ancient cataclysms has happened, and it could happen anytime. You know, they had a huge electromagnetic pulse in the late 1800s. It was such a big one that it fried the telegraph wires. You know, it's just something to think about, and to think about, like, there was this giant civilization that was trading with each other, and or at least at the very least in contact with each other, and they all disappeared pretty much overnight. And the ice age began, ended, began again really quick, and then ended really quick. That's not gradualism, you know. And that's what Graham Hancock was talking about, like gradualisms. You know, it exists, of course it exists, but in the case of the ice age, it's kind of possibly BS. That, like, there looks like there was kind of, Graham Hancock thinks a comet hit the ice shelves in North America, and there's a lot of scientists he's got on his side on that one. Robert Schoch thinks it was solar flares, solar activity. Do I have a flag? I I fly many. Yeah, it's that's my woo-woo segment. I love talking about this stuff. I could seriously talk about it all day long. Stoneshed, Doug says, where the demons dwell and the banshees live, and they do live well. Stonehenge, I love, there's a giant stone sign at Stonehenge that goes, these stones came from 60 miles away. We don't know how they got them here. They were built for this reason. We don't know how. We don't know why. It was basically 2 paragraphs of we don't know what the fuck these things really are, which was funny. Yeah, Stonehenge was awesome. I've been there twice. Yeah, the pyramids are very basic structures, except for the 8-sidedness of them. The pyramids are energy generators. That's Christopher Dunn. There's, you know, like, the pyramids are weird for more the inside to me than the outside. Like those giant granite boxes that they had to build, they didn't fit in the doorway that they had built for them, so they had to build around those things. So why would you do that? There's just a lot of weirdness, and like, for a lot of that stuff, there's probably a very sane scientific explanation, but there's a lot of stuff they cannot. There's so much stuff they can't explain. Like, you know, they're able to move like huge stones. Okay, they've done. I watched them do it in Los Angeles when they brought that big rock out to that LA, the Museum of Modern Art, I think it was. They brought a giant stone from Riverside, but it took days, and it's like this giant truck to do it. Comics Division says, I would love to do a stream about everything, do a stream with you about this, considering I have an anthropology degree. Oh, hell yeah, let's do it. Bring it on. I have a degree in nothing. I have a degree in nothing. Bullshit. There you go. That's my degree. Hard knocks. Feisty knows where my degree is from. So does Doug. And all the hidden tunnels. What the fuck? Yeah. Like, there probably is a scientific explanation for it that's pretty amazing. You know, like the Nile used to come up to. Yeah, I think it's realistic that they're older. I think aliens built the pyramids? I kind of don't. No, I think man did. I think man did all that stuff. And I think man was extraordinary back in the day. And I think it's very possible. We have digressed in the past. I mean, we've it's like the stock market. We're always going up, right? But there are moments where it dips, you know, dark ages. But we did get the Renaissance out of that. So yeah. Yeah. So I think it's really fascinating stuff. Plus, it's always kind of fun to think that everything isn't so goddamn normal and linear. That's why you know, like I'm an agnostic, right? But I'm not you know, and I respect people who are atheists, but if you're like a fundamentalist atheist, like, you know, I don't understand that. Like, I really don't believe this. And this is how passionate I am about not believing. That's like being passionate about not liking pizza. And then getting people's face about like when they're eating pizza, it's like, I don't like that pizza. You shouldn't eat it either. It's like, shut up. So, yeah. Yeah, it's fun to think, you know, like things are weirder than normal. Yeah, and that's just me. It's good for the imagination. It's good for wonder. It's life has to have wonder. Okay. Um, Speaking of wonder, if I just got rid of that picture, didn't I? I wanted to show you guys the cover of Feisty and I did a video last week when our pal Comics division wasn't feeling so well. We went on and did a little chat, and the cover of the video I found, this is like, I haven't seen my new release wall from my comic store in so, oh wait, it's in another folder. I got to bring it out. And seeing a picture kind of brought back some emotions, and I made it a cover of our video. And I gotta find it now. It's in my templates folder. Oh my god, I have so many useless goddamn pictures here. LCS, there it is. So I'll bring that out. And I know this is a kind of a hard switch in subjects, but I'll get back to the chat on the woo woo stuff. I get woo woo from my friend Craig Bell, and he was making fun of me for when I was at Contact in the Desert. I was, you know, Facebooking every day, and I was getting so much shit. Oh my god, you would not believe it. Deservedly so. Deservedly so. My wife has seen a UFO. I don't know if I saw a UFO. I saw something really weird. I don't know what the hell it was, though, to be honest with you. But my uncle, who was Navy intelligence, had some stories. That's what really got it in my head when I was a kid. He'd tell me stories. So totally off the subject. This was my wonderful new release wall at my store. And it was called the Wall of Wonder, as named by Bill Selby, the great artist who did the very first non-movie Star Wars poster. And it's the one of the Cantina Band. That's a good friend of mine. Yeah. So from the bottom to the top of that. So what you see above you see that it was supposed to be like Kraven the Hunter's wall. And he got all the superheroes and villains' heads and chopped them off. And I got all those 1/1 heads. So that's above the new release rack. What you're seeing above that is part of my complete collection of Amazing Spider-Man. And on the wall in my store, we had 1 through 600 on display for months. For months. I was very, very proud of this. And my store kind of looked like this all the way around. I spent I mean, that's kind of why I had to sell it. I would spend 14 hours a day just decorating, cleaning, reorganizing, painting. Like, it became such a crazy obsession. It got a little maddening. But yeah, that was my new release wall. It's still there. It's still there. Brian's running it now. And he's doing a great job. Let's go back up the chat here. Yeah, Gary, I never see. Yeah, Gobekli Tepe. I gotta say it really slow, or I'll just say gobbledygookity. My tinfoil would be BSG ending in season 4 is what happened. Yeah, Battlestar Galactica. We are from Battlestar Galactica, basically. They used the ancient aliens theory. They did. But that's where it originally came from, was Glenn A. Larson. And I love BSG too. Yeah, the Comix will definitely do a stream. We could do point, counterpoint, and or we can like you bring in your brains to my bullshit. It'd be a perfect it would be very symbiotic. I love Stonehenge in 08 and After Hours tour that allowed us to mingle amongst and touch the stones. Epic. Yeah. Did you do the you have to sign up for we did the dawn thing where we got to go out there at when the sun comes up and fucking gold and got to go touch them. And yeah, that was it really is. There's a vibe there that's undeniable. It's probably all in my head, but the vibe gets waned a little bit when you see the parking lot right down, and it's like there's a sheep field right over there, and yeah. One day we will be able to create life on a planet just like life started here. Just saying, yeah, we will. We'll be able to seed a planet. We might do it accidentally. You never know. Like if a rock hits our planet, destroys our planet, but some microbes get that rock, it ricochets to another one. To get to what's his name, Velikovsky. He makes a point, and correct me if I'm wrong, about Venus being like just a really strange planet. It's extremely hot, internally hot, so it's very newish. And there's a lot of weird things, and we don't know a lot about Venus. We don't know a lot. Early Einstein and today quantum physics are possibly because of creativity and thinking impossible. But then you also get tinfoil. So yeah, what Einstein. One of the lectures, and I don't know if I entirely agree with this because I don't know about physics and enough about physics and math. But a lot of the lecturers say that where physics is a way to make sense of the science and space and everything, it's not definitive. It's all theory. It's all still theory. But I'm just going to take their word for it because I have no fucking idea. Batgirl does look like Amy Pond, Pen Farm Girl. So that was the Batgirl in that picture was a half mannequin for my wife's salon. And I went to Hollywood and bought a wig and a Batgirl t-shirt and a vampire cape. And I made my own Batgirl. I used a cheapy little mask that I got like at a 7-Eleven. And she is still there. She is still there. Oh, thanks, James. Quit talking myself down. I'll try. I can get myself out of a jam, but see, I can get myself out of a jam because I've gotten myself in a lot of jams. Got myself, Spark, those are Gary, what if there were there were the what if we're the cosmic accident and that's why nobody comes and visits? Oh yeah, we're the rednecks in space. It didn't the Orville kind of say that? Like we're the rednecks. We're the back, we're the guys who hunt gators on that, what's that reality show on the History Channel, is it? Where they hunt the gators with like string and a metal boat. I forgot. I love the show and I forgot it. That's what we are to aliens. Star Trek used the ancient aliens idea in the episode with Apollo, who mourns who mourns for Adonis. Oh. Steve, okay, I'm watching some crosstalk here. It's a great thing to mine for storytelling. I've seen a lot of comic books And a lot of people use Alex Jones theory. Listen, X-Files relied heavily on Art Bell, a lot. Alex Jones came from Art Bell. A lot of people use Alex Jones wacky theories for their government spy dramas. Sometimes they make fun of them a lot too. They use a lot of the Ancient Alien stuff for comic books now. I see it a lot. I mean, Christ, even in Jack Kirby's Fourth World stuff, there's some there's some Sitchin in that for sure. Just and with the Eternals too. Now, I don't know what kind of a guy Jack Kirby was, but if you read some of that older stuff, it reads a lot like the 12th Planet. Some of that 12th Planet stuff is in there. So I think he might have read that book. And it's really hard to believe Jack Kirby never took acid the way he draws. I don't think he did, but yeah. Any old timers here remember the 70s TV show called Project UFO, aka Blue Book? I remember it. I remember it well. Alex Jones is a bunch of fun. Revile him or not, he's just is more accurate than CNN. I can't argue that. Okay, he's funny. He is funny, man. You ever seen what was it? Is it the Derp Alex Jones where they make his nose really small? Oh my god, those are the funniest fucking videos. What's it called again? I can't show them. Alex Jones. I laugh so freaking hard. Yeah, it is. It's Alex Jones Derps. Just look it up. It's fucking hilarious. I'm sure everybody's seen it. That's some old shit right there. But sometimes old stuff is good. Sometimes it's good. Hey, Doomcock, respond to my con. Hey, that's good. Well, talked about it last night. Doomcock is fucking amazing. He does great videos. Maybe I can show a picture of him. I can't show his videos; they'll be copyright striked. Dictor Von Doomcock. He's secretly my hero, and I could show the cover of his videos. Right there, we go. Yeah, so we'll do that. If anybody wants to know what Doomcock looks like, I'm sure you all do, but for some of you who don't, we will look at Dictor Von Doomcock, kind of what I worship right now. So that's him. And he does videos from his lair, and he's got a Cthulhu, like a stuffed Cthulhu in a jar that's supposed to be in a different dimensions, and they review movies, and it's Red Letter Media, but funny. Red Letter Media is funny, and they use a character, but they more do their half in the bag stuff. This is like in character. It's really insightful. And he really speaks to me. He's not for everybody. If you're a Star Trek fan, I don't know, you might not like what he has to say, but because he eviscerates Star Trek Discovery, but Viking Bitch, who is one of our patrons, she loves him. And even if you don't agree with him, he's funny. He's got a modulated voice. Oh no, that's really him. I'm sorry, that's really him. That's really a mask. He wears the mask because his blood pressure is about to make his head explode. So he says. Super nice. I hate to blow his cover, but I found an old email from him I got to get back to. Yeah, so we're gonna try to get together here on the show, either on his or on mine, a neutral site. I don't know, but we definitely want to get together and chat. Silver Spike, he is your kind. You would love him. He's funny. Check him out. Looks like I'll be in the Bay Area at the end of May, beginning of June. That's a good time. Right around Memorial Day or afterwards. Shoot me a message in the back channel, Feisty Fan. That sounded really fucking bad. Oh my god. I retract that statement. See, my camera's out of focus now. Oh my God. I gotta situate myself here. Let me have some coffee. Oh, wow. See, you know, when you do a stream by yourself and your mouth just kind of gets away from you, I apologize, Feisty Fan. Yikes. I forgot what I was just talking about. Doomcock. We're gonna have Doomcock on. Yes. Alex Jones sure is funny for some, but don't you find it all disturbing that there are people who take him seriously, much like the flat earthers? People disturb me daily, Alexandra. Daily. Some of the stuff I see on the internet. Oh, here's okay. This one's for Jody. He actually requested that I do this. I can't comment on this much more, like on a personal level, because I never watched Channel Awesome. You guys ever heard of Channel Awesome? So you've heard of the Nostalgia Critic, right? Like I've even heard of the Nostalgia Critic. So this is like early YouTube, and the Nostalgia Critic got big, and he started a website like in the early days of YouTube monetization. Nostalgia Critic was actually big enough to leave YouTube and start his own channel called That Guy with Glasses, the guy with the glasses, right? Then it turned into Channel Awesome. So there's been a ton of drama lately, ton of drama lately with that. And a guy named Mike Machado, who's getting heavily criticized on the internet. And what it was, and this is just me observing it over the last couple of days, was it was a group of people who created content that either left YouTube or needed a place to create content without censorship because they were using a lot of other people's clips, and YouTube was nailing them for copyright. So they wanted to go someplace where they could not get nailed for copyright. Some of the stuff I can side with the creators. They were only using like 5-set clips. Some people were using entire clips. You can't do that. You just can't do. If you notice, like I feel nervous putting up website stuff. I've actually been dinged last summer. I put I used to do this lower third with my name, and I put my website link under my name, and YouTube dinged me for that, gave me a strike, and suspended me from live streaming for 3 months. And that fucked our channel for 3 months. So I try not to put anything up. I mean, you're just stuck with me and maybe an article going up, and I'm not going to do music. I'm not doing anything because I don't want to lose live streaming again. That really sucked. So the Channel Awesome thing looked like a group of people who wanted to go create content. The Nostalgia Critic, I was never a fan. Okay, I never big fan. But the cautionary tale in this, and I'm going to sum it up because yeah, 3 months. 3 months with, and the mistake I made was I deleted the video so I couldn't put it in appeal. If I'd have left the video up and appealed it, I probably would have been okay. Because it was just a link to my own site, which was approved. The problem is back channel, it disapproved my site for some reason. So it took me forever to find an answer for this, by the way. And yeah, so we had to just upload videos for 3 months. It actually ended right when Star Trek Discovery came out. And that's when our channel started getting bigger again, because up until that time, we only had like 300 subscribers. Like last summer, I had 300 subscribers here. So, and it's been over the last 6 months, we've gotten like 1,200 subs. So, more than that, 1,400. And thank you, by the way. Thank you. So with the Channel Awesome thing, Dennis and I will go into this a little more on Friday because there's a lesson to be learned here. There's a lesson to be learned. But there's a lot of Me Too stuff going on there that I heard. And there's the quote unquote employees put out a big document accusing Mike Machado of a lot of things. They have some pretty substantial evidence to put out there. But the people got to be really, 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 really careful on doing this stuff, because someday somebody's going to get their ass sued off. Because now there's a lot of commentary videos talking about the owner. He's the CEO of Channel Awesome. And by all means, the guy doesn't look like a good guy. Looks like he abused women, verbally abused women, employees, took advantage of them. But the flip side of that is where it might be new to the YouTube community. Like, this is American business. Like, this shit happens every day in small business and everywhere else in corporate America. Is sometimes there's just bad bosses, and they let the inmates run the asylum, and entitlement starts to happen. And if you equate entitlement with like really shitty bosses, it turns into a shit show super fast. So Channel Awesome's losing a bunch of subscribers. And the Nostalgia Critic has taken quite a hit from this. There's tons of accusation, and there's like some really bad things, I'm not going to comment on it. I'm not going to show them here. But it also reminds me of, like a lot of the content creators were calling this their job, and that's it's a sign of the times. I create content. I make a few bucks on it. This is not my job. It will never be my job. If you're going to make a YouTube channel, don't ever make it your job. I just, if it starts out that way, that's great. And if you're trying, good for you. But, like, YouTube could pull the plug like any second. There was that scare I had last Monday where my channel was gone. It was just gone. The inside of it was still here, but the outside of it was gone. And that could happen any day. I got that suspension out of fucking nowhere, and I had no way to fight it afterwards. And my channel got, so imagine if I was paying my bills on that shit. Hell no. I even hated it. Like, imagine what Brian's dealing with and Feisty's dealing with at the comic store when there is stuff totally out of control happening. Yeah, you never want to put all your eggs in one basket. Like, even watching Mundane Matt talk about like when they changed the ad policy, and he did 3 or 4 videos complaining about that. And honestly, if you read, which I did after we got suspended, I read the terms of use, basically, which are very vague, but it states it like YouTube can basically pull the plug on you whenever the fuck they want. And it's their platform. They can do it. So with this Channel Awesome thing, it looks like the boss was an aloof dickhead, and some of the creators were super entitled millennials, and it was a bad combination. It doesn't excuse the boss from the Me Too accusations. I didn't even want to get into. They were pretty disgusting, to be honest with you. So I hate that shit. And it carries over with Hollywood. But also a lot of full-time YouTubers, especially in the early days, that were very young. Okay. So I don't know how much actual work experience they had in the real world doing 40-hour-a-week jobs. I'm not judging people who don't do that. This is such a side hustle economy now that you got to have more than a 40-hour-a-week job in some places, especially a lot of us here in the city, to be able to pay our mortgages and rents. It's a little fucking nuts. But when you start something with a large group of people, you have a lot of egos involved, and this shit kind of happens every time. I mean, look at every rock band in the history of time. And that's what I equate being on YouTube is. It's kind of like it's a lot like rock and roll. This is a lot like, I've been in bands before. I don't know if Comix Division, you seem like you have a music background, dude. I don't know if you've been in a band. I've been in a band, been in a couple bands, and it's a lot like it. And you get, and shit can go bad really fast. And you got to be careful who you go into business with. And we started, like Dennis and I even had a talk yesterday, like, if this thing gets much bigger, I guess we're going to have to talk about like actually making this a thing. Because right now it's a hobby, and it'll always be a hobby, but we should probably get our ducks in a row and everything. But, hey, Shook, what's up, dude? That's one of our patrons and an old friend, Shakuri Lama. How are you, man? Does YouTube own the content once uploaded? Do the creators retain ownership? We retain ownership. Now they can use it anytime they want. Oh, you were okay. So I knew you were a creative of some sort, Comix Division. I didn't want to out you, but you were a film guy. Okay, cool. Same thing. Same thing. Getting a film together, getting a band together, not entirely different. Yeah, Shook, I own the content, but YouTube can use it for promotional material. I think they have to ask though, but but like if they now, but I do own it. I do own it. They allow you to download the MP4 as long as there isn't a copyright. If there's a copyright strike, they keep you from downloading the MP4 to your own stuff. And I back everything up. So if anything ever does happen to the channel, we will continue at nerderotic.com. Yeah, lots of egos, comics division. So that channel awesome thing just looked like a bunch of egos. Honestly, that I would never watch that channel, but I can see how people were really into it. It seems like a younger thing, so I got it. Jody brought that to my attention, and it's just go and check it out. It's kind of fascinating. Some of the there's so many commentary videos on it. I had to shuffle through. Jody sent me one that was like broke everything down. It's called Fall the Titans. Number 3 is the name of the video. And it's a guy talking about big YouTubers. So YouTubers look like they're having the same life as a band, as your average rock band, which is 5 years, according to Sting. And it seems about right. So a YouTuber, if they get big, they're going to go for about 5 years before the wheels fall off, or they get burned out, or they get sick of it. And if you look across some of the bigger YouTubers, like the guys who were around in 2014, they're starting to fall by the wayside now. There are some that are still around. There's always exceptions. Yes, YouTube is Evil Corp. Yes, they are. They are. Well, Google is, not YouTube. But necessary. God damn, they allow me. I am in bed. I am a content partner with Evil Corp, and I'm kind of okay with that because I can have a lot of fun. So 5 more years for DNC. Yeah, DNC's new. He's essentially new. I don't know where he goes from here. I think like the Comicsgate thing's gonna die out someday, someday soon, I think. And at that point, you just got to be a comic book commentator. And I think he could trudge along, but that explosion he had last year, it depends, man. That guy connects with people. He does. He's got a way of summing things up and connecting people. And you don't get to 64,000 subscribers in a calendar year or less. He did it less than that without having some sort of connection with people and doing something very good with 0 production value. And that tells you everything you need to know about YouTube. It's like a lot of people just listen, and it's personality. It's listening and personality. Anglitine, he's a big channel too. I mean, it's not 60,000, but he's going to keep growing. He's going to be at like 6,000 subscribers too. He has a way of connecting people. I think he's more, hey, what's up, Jody? I just got finished talking about Channel Awesome. I didn't get into it as depth as I like, because I don't know enough about it, but I watched all the stuff you gave me, and thank you very much. Anglitine, the one thing I like about Anglitine, because his like fatherly, his Papa Comics thing going on, I kind of like that persona. And he's got a good voice for that stuff. And he's pretty even-handed, to be honest with you. It gets him in trouble sometimes, his even-handedness. Hey, brought the vinyl back, so you know. Angel fan. Who isn't an Angel fan? Oh yeah, what my project I was doing besides talking to you guys is I'm rearranging the studio so I can have multiple angles, and I actually fit about another I'm not going to show them, but they're over there, like another 100 action figures over here with some original art. Yeah, it looks like it's going to turn out kind of fun. Oh, we're only at 150. We got tons of time. I don't even have to pick up my son from school today, so I can just chill. We're going to do a Ash versus Evil Dead later with Susan, and a certifiable Feisty fan. Yeah, I'm crazy like a fox. No. Yeah, so Dennis and I, Susan and I are going to do Ash versus Evil Dead. It's kind of a long goodbye. So it's going to be Very sad to see that show go, but it's a goner. I love action figures almost as much as I love comics. I loved Angel. I love that show. I thought season 5 was so good. So damn good. It was so suck. James says England team seems to be a decent guy, and I feel for him. I hope he does succeed bigger on YouTube. Just don't tell him I said so. I don't want it to go to his head. Okay, we won't tell him. James says, yeah, he's actually a good dude. He's actually a really good dude, and I wish him nothing but success. And I support him on Patreon. That's how much I feel about him. So there it is. There. His live streams are excellent. Oh my God, they're good. I like my live streams. I really do. I'm very partial to them, but when Comix and Feisty and you see people in here from their live streams, Switchpoint, like Dalton is fucking hilarious. Yeah, he has very entertaining live streams. Highly recommend. Highly recommend. With a good group of people. Sometimes there's some emotions on him, and it just makes it better to me. Yeah, he is cool. We all love Dalton, that crazy motherfucker. Dalton has a lot of time to think about stuff. I think I like, you know, he's very intelligent, very intelligent. He uses them big words. I got to look some shit up when he's talking sometimes. Yeah. Oh yeah, we're gonna be me and Feisty. We've talked about. We're gonna be on doing Comic Book Thunderdome on Saturday, and on Comics Divisions on Thursday. So I got to keep my voice ready. And dude, there's tons of TV coming out. Yeah, Krypton might get put back to the wayside. We'll have to see how Expanse turns out. Looks like interest in Krypton's kind of fading. And Legion was guys, if you're not watching Legion, holy shit, is that a good TV show. That first episode was amazing. Totally amazing. Like if Terry Gilliam did superheroes, that's what it'd be. Feisty joined me for a little while, Jody. And Comix is at work. Mark says, I'm still not interested in Krypton. Yeah, it's going to be hard to sell to you because I like the first episode. And we like the second one. But then something like Legion comes out. It was stunning, Silver Spike. Legion comes out. And then you look at Krypton compared to Legion. You're like, oh, that's a silly little show. And yeah, we're going to have comics on our channel soon. When we got to coordinate schedules, but Jody, you can watch the replay. This one's going to be, it's going to be interesting because when the last 2 live streams that have gone over 2 hours, YouTube only puts up the last 2 hours, and for 24 hours it takes to process whatever time I go over 2 hours. So the last one was 3 hours. So 1 hour and 7 minutes. The first hour and 7 minutes didn't show up till the next day, which really sucked. And I think it might be YouTube's passive aggressive way of keep your live streams under 2 hours, which I cannot promise, but maybe it's not going to happen this time. So we'll see. Cause it looks like I'm going to go where we're at 2 hour, 2.5 hours now. My voice is hanging in there. Let me take a sip. Pizza's gone. Pizza's gone. So where was I? Legion. For Christ's sake, if you're not watching Legion, you are missing out on something truly wonderful. It's a weird show, and it's not for everybody. Our buddy John doesn't like it. But I can honestly say anything Dennis and I fully agree on, which is not a lot, but that's why he's on the podcast. Then it's generally pretty good and pretty well liked. So I just have a distaste for prequels. I think we all do. Hey, what'd y'all think of that Solo trailer last night? I'm Comix and I talked about it, and I'm in agreement with Comix that That Lando looked awesome. Donald Glover, I like really captured the smirky coolness and just pure confidence of Lando Calrissian. In just a couple of quick scenes, Alden Ehrenreich, that poor guy. I hate to pick on him. It doesn't look good. And I love how they removed the goddamn gun from all the fucking. I'm going to start cussing now. Sorry, from all the posters. But then the entire the first minute of the trailer is focused on gun. I mean, it's a goddamn laser gun from another galaxy. So, however you feel about the gun debate, which I am not going to discuss. It's actually a long story. I will make it very short and I can't elaborate. It's a moot point with me anyway. Guns. It's a moot point. Yeah, it's funny that they focused on the gun in the beginning. And the train looked kind of cool, but I don't know about you guys out there. They were talking about it on I was watching a Collider video to my shame. And they were talking about calling the set piece at the end. I hate that term set piece. Like when did that pop up? Like it seems like in the last 15 years, the whole set piece term came in. Like it makes it such a cookie cutter product. Like, here comes the blockbuster down the conveyor belt and we need to put in the widget set piece. So today's widget set piece will be a double train that's on both sides of the track because that makes sense. Because we're going to make a ride later at Disneyland that's going to be based on this train. So let's insert it into and that's what we're going to get. Disney makes most of their money from their parks. And I think going with Star Wars Land over like the Marvel superhero land that they were going to do is a huge mistake, but that's just me. Although you can get a lot of good rides out of Star Wars, and it's going to be rad to go through a Millennium Falcon, but I don't know. The plans I saw, I would have rather have walked to the Baxter Building and had the Daily Bugle and Asgard, and that there was a Silver Surfer ride, and oh yeah, these things were real. I saw them. Yeah. So let's get to. Oh, I see GRM. Oh, it's Alexandria. Hi. Just teased her, but GRM's writing prequels to GO2 aren't so bad. Well, okay, that's the exception. That's the exception. If you hear that dog barking, that's my dog Parker. She's on restriction right now. She's in her cage. She ate a bottle of lotion, which is not going to be fun in about an hour. Yeah, I think she's been cooped up. I got to take her on a big long walk. Yeah, California Adventure is going to have hero stuff, says Feisty Fan. So they're going to put the Marvel stuff over there. Well, that's cool then. So it'll only be like $2,500 for me to bring my kids there. There's a Motel 6, like an exit down. That's still like $60 a night, I believe. Just book it there. You don't need to be at the fucking Disney hotel. Okay. Go to the Motel 6, one exit down, $60 a night. It's clean. That's where I always stay when I go to the Anaheim Convention Center. Yeah, I missed Silicon Valley this weekend. And reason being is I'm really trying to, I went to a bunch of cons last year. I'm really just trying to save it all for San Diego. Because this could be my last. Yeah. How did she eat a bottle of lotion? Oh man, I don't even want to tell you. Like she downed the plastic and everything. Like not the cap though. Or I'd be taking her to or I wouldn't be live streaming right now. She'd be on her way to the vet, but she's done this in the past. She's a street dog. We saved her from she was picked up off the streets of Modesto and taken to the San Francisco SFPCA or whatever. And we adopted her there. Yeah. I'll have my garden hose out ready to go. I'll be ready. Spider-Man 3D ride was awesome at Florida's Universal Studios. God, I want to go there so bad. So bad. Star Wars Land is going to have Star Wars themed hotel too. I wonder. I do not know. Jody, probably. I know Disneyland kind of sucks right now. It's like walking a horseshoe because you can't do a full circle because it's all blocked off for building Star Wars Land. And considering they're not discounting the tickets at all, and you're still paying full pot for that. Yeah, an hour or so. I'm hoping it's a little longer, or not during this podcast, but I'm sure I'll be able to smell it. Sorry, folks. Han Solo guy kind of looks like Tom Welling, says Steve Nyman. A little bit. It's his voice I have a problem with. It sounded better in the trailer, but oh my God, the delivery on that line when he's talking to Lando, like, are all the stories about you true? Or I heard there were some stories about, it was like, really, I was like, oh, I see why they needed the coach. Sorry, bud. He's a really handsome dude, though. I'm sure he's not going to have many problems on that front. But I finally saw the other guy everybody wanted for the Solo movie, and he did that video where he did the Harrison Ford impression, and for Christ's sake, he looked just like him. Like, how could they have not picked this dude? I can't remember his name. You guys probably know what I'm talking about. God damn, that was good. The delivery was soulless, right, Silver Spike? But it might not be his fault. I mean, he had to film everything twice. But what culture already did a video of, like, it's noticeable that you can see the reshoots. They stand out. It's still going to make a ton of money. It's going to make a ton of money. I guess solo actors could be on the CW with Wally West. I know, right? Oh, that Wally West kid. Yeah, what culture is funny? They can get yeah, they're pretty funny. They're pretty funny. I don't watch the wrestling stuff because I don't know about wrestling anymore. I guess WrestleMania was last night. The last WrestleMania I watched was in the 90s. I used to love WrestleMania. I remember seeing the first one. Got my dad to pay-per-view it and everything. Roddy Piper and Mr. Wonderful Paul Orndorff. Hulk Hogan and Mr. T, or was Mr. T the first or second one? That was awesome with Mr. T. And Lou Albano and Cyndi Lauper and all that good stuff. It was fun. No one can play Han Solo. Yeah, like all I'm going to think about is this guy got killed by his son in a very punk fashion. A very, very, yeah, just needless. Comix and I were talking about the Obi-Wan movie. I want to see morally gray Obi-Wan, where he's got, like, his sole purpose is to protect this child, and he's on Tatooine, and he's got to protect him from friend and foe. Nobody can know about Luke Skywalker at all, ever, because one word gets out to Darth Vader, that kid's dead or worse on the dark side. So his sole purpose, like, he's not even with his master Yoda anymore. So Obi-Wan has to do stuff like, I don't know, disappear people who know about it. Even if somebody finds out by accident, in the best of intentions, Obi-Wan can't take that chance. So Obi-Wan stops being a Jedi at that point because he's basically got to off people, innocent people, for the fate of the galaxy. I think that would be one hell of a movie. You mix that with like a little Unforgiven vibe about it, you know, the man with no name. And then, of course, it's kind of ruined with the whole, like Comix mentioned this last night, with the whole Darth Maul thing done in Star Wars Rebels. But you find another way to mix. God, if there was only another Sith that they could bring in, you bring in somebody else, or maybe you just say, you know, you put caution to the wind and you do the Star Wars Rebel thing with Darth Maul. Just adapt it a little better, because that turned up being kind of disappointing to me. It was okay, but I thought it could have been better. I'm so worried Disney will fuck it up. Yeah, Comix says, I'm so worried that Disney would fuck it up bad. Yep. Yeah, because I think there's a potential for a great movie there. That's a story that we'd all love to see. Because actually, there's no real lore around that. There was lore around. That's like the death. That's why Rogue One kind of worked. There was no like real lore around that. But when Solo comes out, the Kessel Run, like that's something I never want to see. I want to see it in my head. I'm fine with it in my head. I don't ever want to see that. For my entire life, I wanted to see Obi-Wan take on Anakin by the lava. That has been in my head since they first mentioned it in a Bantha Tracks when I was in the Star Wars fan club back in the 80s. And when I finally saw it, it was satisfying. That's the one good thing in Revenge of the Sith. But the fight I had in my head was so much better. I always imagine them older, by the way, like Obi-Wan being a little older and Anakin being a little older. Applecrow says Lando is my top 3 Star Wars characters. Lando has aged very well. And honestly, he's the only good one left. And isn't it weird that diverse Disney hasn't asked him to come back? Billy D. Williams. Is there something wrong with him? I would love to see fucking Billy D. Williams. I bet you he shows up in episode 9. He was also Harvey Dent. Because they should be older, right? They should be older, Comics Division. It was essentially 2 boys fighting. I wanted to see 2 men fighting. I'm just seeing that an awful lot. Something I didn't point out in our podcast last night is we were looking at that Solo thing. And even with Donald Glover, it's the boys of Disney and not the men of Disney. Like Paul Bettany and Woody Harrelson are the only men in that. And the only line that I really liked in that trailer was delivered by Woody Harrelson, which is just assume everybody's going to betray you and you'll never be disappointed. I was like, okay, that was good. I like that. Jaded as fuck. But yeah, that's Lando. Yeah, I hope it's not like disposable Lando. You know what I mean? Like fast food, Happy Meal Lando. Like we get some real Lando. And I've heard a lot of people say like this would have been a better as a Lando movie, and then you had Alden Ehrenreich just show up in a couple scenes as Han. Like that would work. And don't be surprised at all if you get I think they fully intend to do a Lando movie with Donald Glover, and I'd be okay with that. But let me cut you off before you're going to say it. Disney will probably screw it up. They need to course correct big time. We've talked about that. They really do. They really do. Because listen, I don't think it's broken at this point, like beyond repair. But that all hinges on episode 9. Or I could be wrong. It might be too late. It'd be real interesting to see the numbers on Solo. Well, Gary, that's the impression I get from the movie anyway. Yeah. George would screw it up too, Steve. He would. But did we ever think Comix mentioned this on the stream last night? Like, did we ever think we'd be at the point where we're like, can we have George back, please? Please. But George is never coming back. It'd be like if all due respect to Brian, if Brian asked me to come back and like manage the Comic Outpost, I could not do that. No way. And not that he would never ask me, believe me. If you're going to make everyone young, it should be set further back, says Comic Division to Jody. Agreed. I'm not totally against making it completely young, but if episode 9 is great, I'll have to eat a lot of crow, but I really think JJ can tie something up. I would have my fork and knife out with my bib and some barbecue sauce and eat the shit out of that crow if it's great. I have no problem eating crow. It tastes good. I'm used to it. Steve Jobs came back. That's true. That's true. But he was never like, well, yeah, I guess he was a co-creator. But that's like George Lucas was the creator. He had he had partners, but he was clearly the man in charge. It was he was the proprietor of Star Wars. It would be like a sole proprietor coming back and working for a corporation, which happens all the time. And sometimes it works, but most of the time it doesn't. There's you're right, Comics Division. There's so much baggage for George to come back. He sold it for a reason. I'm sure he has moments of regret, but then there are times like this where I'm sure he is really happy to be out of it completely. He's watching Rianne get all the shit that he was getting before. And he's like, oh man, am I glad I sold that. Shoo. Let me go back to count my money. I'll be done in 30 years. 30 freaking years it would take. Oh, it'd probably take more time to count them. Or George did do the first movie with Howard the Duck. He did a lot of stuff back in the 80s, and it started waning in quality. But there was a time before the prequels, George was a god amongst geeks. He could do no wrong. I see Alter Carbon. Mark says Alter Carbon is just okay. I respectfully disagree, but that's cool. We always we respect here. We respect. But I gotta admit, sometimes like shows grab me on style, and I love the style of it. So that might be tempering my the story. The nerds really beat him up. The people versus George Lucas. Yeah, dude, that was. Do you think that's the reason he sold? Didn't that come out right before it? I mean, I think it was just the money, but THX 1138. I've seen it many times. It's weird. It's definitely weird. And I think George was a weird filmmaker that went linear. I think he definitely was more experimental than even some of his contemporaries of those days. But he accidentally, like this really indie guy, created the summer blockbuster. Started with American Graffiti. I mean, he wasn't the only one, but can we all agree that maybe the summer blockbuster started with Star Wars? I can't think of stuff. No, Jaws was a summer blockbuster. So I think that started it. But I was 5 when Jaws came out. So there was so much nude violence in Altered Carbon, and I have no problem with that. Visuals go a long way with me too, but they can't hide a bad script. No, they can't. No, they can't. Eraserhead is is it the weirdest movie of all time? No. Forbidden Zone by Richard Elfman is the weirdest movie of all time, in my opinion. Eraserhead is a very close second. Ha! I knew I could count on Gary to keep talking while I was gone. Has it been an hour? Oh shit. It's starting to go a little bit, but I can keep going. I gotta turn myself up a little bit. Welcome back, Viking bitch. You guys are awesome for hanging in here with me. My wife usually tunes me out within because she talks all day. She could run a podcast, by the way, just as better than I could. But she talks all day in the salon. So by the time she gets home, she can't talk at all. So I do all the talking, but she usually tunes me out in the first 5 minutes or so. She gets the gist of it, though. I don't take it personal. You're going to check that date, Comics Division. Oh, Feisty. Thank you so much. I'd love to see Old Republic show. Loved Kotar. Yes. Adapt some of the. Apparently, there's going to be Tag and Bink are going to be in Solo. That's some Dark Horse stuff. The People First George Lucas came out in 2010, so it came out afterwards. Or no, before. I was thinking the Marvel purchase, which is in 2009. By the way, I found my podcast from the comic shop that we did the day the Disney sale went down. It's kind of a mess. I'm going to have to mess with some volume levels because there was a snowball mic on a table inside the comic shop with 9 guys sitting around. And Dennis was there, and it was my manager and a bunch of other guys, and we talk about it. I'm going to post it. I think I'll just put that on the website. So I'll link that to you. By the way, when this turns into a video, I will be linking Englantine's video, Comic Division, and our Star Wars talk from last night, which you should definitely go check out on this channel. Feisty and my talk from last week, and the article to Brian on Bleeding Cool, and a link to Brian's comic store, because that might be a better place. He might have the open letter there, and you won't have to deal with the pop-ups of Bleeding Cool. Yeah. So 2010, that was Jesus Christ. What's happening? Comics, dude. That was 8 years ago. I was working at Technicolor. No, I was at Ascent Media. And then I went to Technicolor when I was working my second job. I had the comic store, and I was working down in LA, doing some editing and QC and pre-mastering for Technicolor, which was a fun and lonely job. Did the night shift. So it was me and a guy named Ed Maloney, and some night editors who would come in and out, and we did the digital content for Disney, HBO, Paramount. I got to work on True Blood, and Thor, and Sucker Punch, which I've told that story a million times. How to Train Your Dragon. Worked on over 300 titles. I was just a contract worker, and they wanted to keep me, and I quit. I couldn't stand being away from home that long. I was coming home every weekend, did that for a year. It was brutal. RAP Couture, says Apple Crow. The New Republic, I think they're going to dig into that, and I'm praying it's not Rian Johnson doing that, but I don't think he's going to. They really cannot do that trilogy with him, right? I mean, even if you like The Last Jedi, you got to be like half the fan base being against you. I'm sorry, man. That's not really good. I don't think you want to start something out losing half of your fan base. But it's current Hollywood. So, yeah. They're all Nazis. They don't count. Yep. They don't count. And the thing is, we all still want Star Wars to be good. Look at, like, I see a lot of videos out there offering solutions. It's not just a big bitch fest. It's like, why don't you try this? And why don't you try this? And you know, they do hear that stuff. And Dave Filoni's still there. And as long as Dave Filoni is still in the building, there is hope. There is hope. Viking bitch. I love True Blood before they introduced the fairy shit. Yeah, the True Blood, I was totally into that show, but that last season was basically a middle finger to fans. That really pissed me off. That was worse than the end of Smallville, in my opinion. And I love Smallville, but what? Oh my God. And Kristen Cruick and that whole sex cult thing. How weird is that? Oh my God. Yeah. Dennis and I talked about that 2 podcasts back. Dennis had that story 6 months ago. Yeah, Gary, that's assuming Rian actually cares what anyone thinks. He's going to start to. His career's on the line. I mean, this could end the dude's career. That's no hyperbole. I mean, you know, he'll come out with one movie, but his name, even if half the people are against you, that's people against you. That's having anti-fans. You don't want that. not when you're actually out there to make money and sell a product. Yeah, I was thinking about doing an Umbrella Guy impression there. I decided against it. I like Umbrella Guy a lot, by the way. He's got this very soothing Southern drawl there, and he likes to talk about consumerism in comic books. It's very good and relaxing. Oh, man. There were two things I liked about True Blood. Oh, what were those? I don't know. I saw a watch at Avocro, shithead. Oh, wow. Easy now. I don't know what's going on, but no fighting. Direct anger towards me if you need to. Yeah, Gary, I was surprised to learn that Kristen and Allison were mixed up in that cult. When initial articles appeared, I kept hoping it was just a rumor. Yeah, I don't know how far Kristen's in it, but Allison was in deep, and holy shit. Yeah, shook that ending the True Blood with Bill just pissed me off. And I was a backer of that show. I love that show. It was silly and fun. And it could have had a better ending, in my opinion. So yeah, with that whole sex cult thing with Smallville is weird but believable. And I mean, I don't know all the details of it. It just sounds like an S&M club that got a little weird, that got weirder. It probably started out with just like some people wanting to have a little fun, you know, and I don't judge people for that. But like I said, they're just down the street. I like, okay, I'm gonna, this is bad. I shouldn't Google this, but I'm gonna Google it now. I don't know if it's still in business here in San Francisco. Oh, opens up at 9 o'clock. The Power Exchange in San Francisco. It's not too different from that, where you pay some good money to go to a bar and exchange some power, as so they say. And you know, Galactus bless him for wanting to do that. For wanting to do that. A lot of folks will try real hard to get Rianne's next tomato meter down for payback for The Last Jedi, says Zev Bellringer. Sorry, Zev. Yes. He needs to change his name to Ryan Smithy. I didn't watch the ending, says Comics Division. Good. You saved yourself a lot of time. And you can probably still look at the show fondly because it was an insult. It was a total insult. Both that and Smallville ending to me were insults. I found honesty is the best policy, except when it isn't. Agreed. Agreed. Honesty without love is cruelty. Okay. And love without honesty is cruelty too. And cruelty without love is honesty. Anna Paquin. Met her by the Golden Gate Bridge at a X-Men 3 event that they did. She was very nice. Alexandra says, I came here for the Expanse and now I'm going with the NXIVM sex cult. That's right. That's our tagline. Come for the Expanse, stay for the sex cults. Nerdrotic. We will be very Expanse heavy here. One of our biggest criticisms is our reviews are too long, and I agree. That one's going to be an hour and a half, at least the premiere episode. Dennis and I will be on breaking that stuff down because I got a lot of book stuff to get to. And I'm even re-listening to the book on my way to work. I have quite a drive to work every day. So yeah, I'm going to be through with the second book here pretty soon. Wow, Gary, that was deep. That's as deep as I get. Trust me. Feisty Fan says boobies. That's from last night. Boobies. Shook. That was the insult heard round the world. No review is ever too long, ever. Not if you love it. Not if you love it. I have Kingdom Come next to me. Excited to finally read that. Oh, you haven't read Kingdom? Oh my God, Kingdom Come is so good. Kingdom Come is it's the houses of the holy of comic books. Okay, just saying. Oh no, you know what? Let me take that back. It's the physical graffiti of comic books, not the houses of the holy. House of the Holy is on physical graffiti, but it's not on the actual album. I'm talking about Led Zeppelin album. Physical graffiti is my favorite Led Zeppelin album. I think it's a lot of people's. Yeah. Kingdom Come is the movie DC needs to make. Apple Crow. Yeah, the animated or as long as Paul Dini is in charge of it, I am totally cool with that. I'm looking because I have the hardcover version right over there. I do. I have multiple versions of that. One of them signed by Alex Ross himself. Love Led Zeppelin. Yes. That was part of that stack of records my wife, ooh, that was a Freudian slip. My sister slid to me in my almost famous moment when she got tired of me listening to fucking soundtracks. She put Physical Graffiti and Led Zeppelin 4 in there and made me listen to it. Thanks, Jody. I used to work you guys know this. I used to work at the warehouse and Tower for a spell, but mostly the warehouse and Licorice Pizza. My Tower spell was very small though, because I was getting high back then. So I think I worked for like a week. Did a couple spells at the warehouse with the official Dougie J was my boss. Those are good times. And Jay, who shows up once in a while, he did the Ready Player One review with us. He worked with me there with Doug, where every day was a podcast. Every fucking day was like this podcast. Doug had to like get us focused again because like me and Jay would get locked in the conversations and completely ignore customers. It's pretty terrible. But I look back on that and oh my God, if I could do that job, get the pay I'm making now, I've said this before, and do that job, oh my God, I'd be so happy. But VHS would have to come back, which I don't think it will. You saw Robert Plant and he's saying rockabilly? That's kind of cool though. I mean, just seeing Robert Plant. When Led Zeppelin got back together in Royal Albert Hall, was it in 2011? That is epic with Jason Bonham on the drums. That was so freaking good. That version they did in rehearsal of In My Time of Dying. Oh my God, that's goddamn my favorite song. I actually know how to play that on bass. It took me forever to learn it because John Paul Jones is secretly a bass genius. And yeah. Celebration Day. Oh, yeah. What's up, Ed? We're just talking along here. I've down to who wants quick reviews when you oh, Alexandra said, who wants quick reviews? Go to Emergency Awesome or the like. Yeah. He was him and Comic Book Cast 2 were the first YouTubers I started watching like really regularly. I like what Charlie is super consistent, and my thumbnails are completely ripped off from him, like inspired by how I learned a lot from YouTubing from him, just the technical side, and his videos, like they're not easy to produce, and he pumps like 2 or 3 out a day sometimes. So he must be doing that stuff full time, or he must have people doing it now. But yeah, he's good. He's good. Doesn't really. He's very. It doesn't take sides. It's very light. He's very light, but that, I mean, that's the good part, and pretty informational. His comic knowledge is pretty good. A little Google heavy, in my opinion. He's gotten a couple things wrong, but there's nothing wrong with that. So have I. Les Claypool, Feisty Fan, a Bay Area dude. He's top 2-3 bass players ever. Yeah, agreed. I'm a Getty guy, but Les Claypool, I love that stuff. I like Emergency Awesome. He didn't review Preacher. That's how you found Nerdrotic. Oh, really? Thanks. There was some Preacher pictures today, and they gave us a premiere date. Let's go there. Let's do that. How's it? Man, second season of Preacher. Really strong beginning. Actually, the first 3 episodes are probably some of the best episodes of Preacher. Then it gets into kind of a lull in the middle, and then it recovers at the end. Oh, you stupid pop-ups. Why did you do that to me? Where are you going? Okay, here we go. New Preacher set photos. Such a fan of this comic. Doug is a fan of this comic. Doug was a fan of this comic before I was. Yeah. So here's some new set photos. They're just set photos. But it does say that it returns June 24th. June 24th at 10 p.m. We're getting 10 episodes. It's going to be on Sunday. So I think that's going to start right when Westworld ends, which is good. Summer's really a slow time for TV reviewing. I think Preacher was the only show we did over the summer when we weren't live. That didn't help. Let's go to the pictures. They're nothing great, but I mean, there's something. You could see Hair Star. Jesse turning on a light. That guy's got good hair, man. Like, okay, he should play freaking Iron Man. I know it's weird, but you got to recast Iron Man. So recast him. Dominic Cooper. I love Dominic Cooper. Yes, I know he's young Howard Stark. And there's Hair Star. God bless Hair Star. Fucking that initiation episode last season was so fucking funny. I am so happy that Seth Rogen and Evan Goldberg are in charge of the boys. I became a big Seth Rogen fan after the show, and the episodes he directs are the best episodes. He's super talented. So, hats off to that dude. I know, I just choose to ignore his act on Twitter and look at him just through his art, and I'm okay with that. There we go. Susan was saying hi in the Twitter. So let's go over here. I don't know if any of y'all saw the Preacher. Season 1's excellent. Oh my God, Cliff Burton. Yes. I'm sorry, Shook. Yes, Cliff Burton. Love Cliff Burton. Lots of love for Cliff Burton. May he rest in peace. Robert Trujillo, is that the kid they got now? I like him a lot. He was in the Suicidal Tendencies, which was one of my all-time favorite bands. My boy Pat Kim, he might be watching. Hi, Pat Kim. You guys ever heard of a band called Unwritten Law? They had a couple of hits in the early aughts. They're a famous San Diego band. They've been around forever, and they finally made it big with some minor hits. Huge in Australia. Bass player Pat Kim, good friend of mine, and he's, dude, hung out with Danzig. He's lived the rock star life. He's gone on tour. He does tattooing now in Petaluma, and sometimes you'll see me wearing a shirt that says, "Where are the stickers?" Did I just throw? It says "Sick Man of Asia." Here, I'll find it since I'm plugging my friend. Pat Kim tattoo. If you're ever out in Placerville, which I kind of like. It's a foothill town on your way to Tahoe. Royal Six Tattoo. Royal Six Tattoo. Oh my God. That's like a flash heavy site. About Us. Where's Pat? Where's Pat? There's Freddie. PK. PK Kim. Is it PK Kim? Isn't it? Yeah, it's supposed to be just Pat Kim. Tell them to fix that, Pat. All right. Yeah, I'm just gonna plug my boy here. If you're ever in Placerville and you want a tattoo, that's your man right there. Pat Kim, former bass player of Unwritten Law. And swell guy. He's who I lived with in LA when I was working there, when I had to get a second job because the Comic Outpost wasn't making enough money. And he would not accept rent from me, the bastard. And his lovely wife, Marcy, and their 2 daughters, who are just freaking growing up fast and cute as can be. That's a good dude. It's a good dude there, my boy, Pat. Should always try to plug my friends. If you guys ever want anything plugged, just let me know. I'll do it. We'll never take a sponsor, but we'll plug a friend. Sky blue. Are we talking about favorite colors here? Clown wigs. Preacher is a mature comic with an irreverent take on Christian religion and rural Southern culture. It can be fun if you can take the yeah. So, and that's stuff I don't think about, James, and I should, because with all that talk of tolerance and blah blah blah, while I am an agnostic, I don't believe I'm bashing on anybody's religion. I think that's actually really shitty thing to do. And that's Garth Ennis. Garth Ennis has a disdain for that part of America, and it comes out in his writing. While it's good satire, I think satire. I think the best satire is done like, hey, I'm being sarcastic with this, but I still somewhat respect at least your belief in something. Garth does not have that. No, he doesn't even like comic fans. I'm probably talking too much here. He's a great writer. I don't know how he's been lately, but in the past, he, and not all of his comic fans are perfect. Okay. But that's where your bread is buttered, my man. But he's a great writer. God damn, he's a great writer. I love his stuff so much. But yep, it gets a little mean, especially on the Southern culture thing. I think it's, yeah. Especially when you're down there filming. They're filming. It's going to be in Louisiana for a second season. I just think it's the last thing that's safe for them to pick on, James. So I got you there. And that's something I don't think, because I'm not from this super religious family or I got family in the South. Freaking love it down there. I do. I love big, long road trips because this country is pretty fucking epic to drive through if you have the time. It's not super expensive to do that if you're not snobby like me. I'll stay at a KOA. I don't care. I'll sleep on the ground. Yep. You're right, Viking bitch. It's the same with a lot of artists. Picasso was a total dick, but extremely talented. Yep. You got to look past the creativity and you got to look past the asshole and find the creativity, the beauty in what they made, not what they are. We're all fallible human beings. Road trips are the goddamn best. I took one with my with the whole family last year, and I had the best time. And we did dorky stuff. We went to Meteor Crater and Meow Wolf, which I swear, I promise you, I will do an entire podcast on Meow Wolf. I walked out of that place so inspired and happy, and yeah. And that's what art is supposed to do. Inspire. I was like, it's supposed to make you think. I was like, I like the inspiration part of it. Separate the art from the artist. Absolutely. And I could do that most of the times, unless the artist puts themselves out there like way too much, and then it becomes impossible to do so. Like, for I've kind of turned around on this, but with Ben Affleck as Batman, I could not see Ben Affleck. I think around Justice League, I finally say, okay, I kind of like his Batman. I want him to stay as Batman, and he's dialed back his act a little bit. But that's just one example. Like Mark Waid with writing comics, who used to be my favorite comic book writer. Like Irredeemable, I'm right there with Umbrella Guy. Irredeemable is one of my favorite all-time books. If you guys have not read Irredeemable, it is basically if Superman lost his shit. And so much so that villains and heroes united to try to stop him, and they couldn't. That is Irredeemable. It is fucking fantastic. The art is somewhat inconsistent, but it is Mark Waid's best storytelling, and he might have blown his wad with that. There's a couple of collected versions. The back issues, or you can probably find them in your local quarter bins. There's the problem with it is there's multiple covers all the time with, and it wasn't a huge seller. I pumped it up in my store enough to where I had like 50 subscribers for it from zero, and it was so good. So, and with a great ending. It's Irredeemable from Boom. Sounds like Injustice. Yes, it does. Quite a bit, but it came out before Injustice. But it goes where Injustice does not go. Trust me, it's a hard R, Ed. So think of Superman losing his shit with a hard R. Yeah, cannot recommend it enough. You can get it digitally, a quarter bin, a discounted trade. Pick yourself up Irredeemable Volume 1, some of the best alternative superhero storytelling, and Mark Waid's absolute best work. Like, you'll read that and go, what happened? Like, what happened? Trust me on that one. Yeah, Feisty, trust me. I would not steer you guys wrong. It was so goddamn good. And he is a shadow of that. It's remarkable. It's remarkable. Oh my god, and it's as brutal as The Boys. Like, you're like, Mark, where in the hell has this been? Because it reads not as it reads like a straight Garth Ennis sometimes. More of a Grant Morrison. More of a Grant Morrison. Absolute movie material. Although, Steve, I am more of a proponent of the HBO series. If I get to dream, I like to dream big. So big budgeted HBO series would be my go-to for most superhero stuff beyond movie now. Like Kingdom Come, I don't want to see a 2-hour Kingdom Come. I'd want to see a 10-hour Kingdom Come, a 10-hour Irredeemable. I just picked up volume 1 of The Boys. I have a lot of reading to do today. Yes, you do, Feisty. Yes, you do. You got to get to volume 4. Hang on, if I can reach it. Is it there? Where'd it go? There it is. Whoops. Sorry about the hat. Here we go. So you got to get this. You got to get to this. Because I have the original art on my wall for this too. Most people who know me know this, but this is like a really proud achievement. There's your boy. That's Russell Burns. You know Russell Shook. God damn, it's been a long time, Shook. We should get together, man. Your package is on the way, sir. Yours got delayed because I fucked up on the label. But your package is on the way. There's something a little extra in it for you. Pen, did you get your package, Pen Farm Girl? Did you guys get your Patreon stuff? Viking bitch, you get your Patreon stuff? Yeah, I love this cover that Derek did, by the way, the Animal House one. That is so sick. Oh my God, that is sick. Yeah, this is it also happens to be like, and it really doesn't have anything to do with me being in it, is my favorite trade of that book. Oh, you're very welcome. I just wanted to make sure you guys got them and you were happy with them. You weren't disappointed or anything like that. Because if you were, you could tell me and I could make it better. Like I don't like disappointing. Yeah, I got. Thank you, Pen. I absolutely suck at returning emails. It's a character flaw that I'm working on. Ask Doomcock. I found Doomcock's email. He sent it on the 25th. He wants to set something up. He was super nice, and yeah, so it's something that actually me and my sponsor are working on. I finally decided like this is a problem I need to like really get to because I rely heavily on it at work. Actually, there's at work, it's like 3 different emails, a fucking Skype. There's a lot, like way too much to take care of for ADD boy here. So yeah, I definitely had to go to my sponsors like, dude, I need to work on this, man, because this I'm not good at this. Uh, yeah. You find some good podcasts. Search with a good podcast client talking about. I got mine. I have Doc Tennant fighting. I have Doc Tennant fighting. Doc Tennant fighting Vader. Nice. I'm glad you guys got your packages and you liked them. You're gonna get another one in 6 months. It's gonna be all new, all different, but not like Marvel. Not like Marvel. My God, even me talking about Irredeemable is like I'm totally gonna crack that open and read it again tonight. I talked myself into that shit. Maybe I'll do the comic book review thing is it's definitely for other people. It's not something I'm gonna jump on. Maybe I'll do like one during a live stream and I'll just do old comics that I like. Um no, not on the 25th. No, Jody, he emailed me the previous 25th. I believe he's going on a bit of a vacation, and when he gets back, we'll hammer out a date. I mean, I'll take a day off from work to talk to Doomcock. Yeah, I wonder what happened to Russell Shook. I moved up to Santa Rosa, I think. I ran into him at Barnes and Noble like 2 years ago. That's the last time I saw him. Russell used to be on the old Comic Outpost podcast. You'll hear him when I put up that one from the Disney one. Irredeemable should have been an actual DC Superman story. Hell yeah, James. Oh my God. It would have had so much more impact. It still has a lot of impact, but they did Red Sun. Why not do? I mean, I don't know why they draw the line with that stuff nowadays. I understood why you drew the line with it in the 80s or something like that, but Enchantment of Eternity is rewatching B5 now, reviewing it by season, but he loves Star Trek too much in his B5 reviews. Oh, so he's watching Babylon 5. That's probably gonna, when I'm done with Farscape, I'm probably gonna hit that. So I just read the premise of the ending of Redeemable and teared up. Great idea. Oh yeah, it's it's so good. It's one of the great untouched works that it's Boom Entertainment, so Mark Waid owns it. Yeah, I'll put it on the Friday podcast. Why not? Well, because I think Dennis has read Irredeemable too. We can both talk about it. So, would it be great to interact with Doomcock in the chat? It would. It would be great to have him on. We got to work out the logistics. How he wants. It's totally up to him how he wants to do it. I am whatever he wants to do. I will accommodate him. He passed me up on subscribers, which I knew he would. That Iron Man video did very well for him. So he swings for the fences, man. He swings for the fences. He does, and he deserves. I just like that guy's going to be huge. He's going to be so huge, and then what the thing is, when he gets bigger, he'll be able to do more videos. He'll have more time, so it'll actually increase. He obviously, I would, this is without talking to him, put some serious thought into like what's going to be my thing, how am I going to stand out, and I don't know who it is behind the mask. I don't know where he is. He could be like there's got to be some kind of film background with that, or he's just really good at explaining storytelling and characterization and breaking down film. It sounds educated to me, but maybe he's just fucking good at it. Yeah, I think the goal for him is do it full time. Absolutely. I don't think you put that much production value in and not. Our goal here, which we never had one, is for this to be part of the new comic shop. So that has always been tentatively my plan. I've always wanted this to have a platform because I've always believed in what Dennis and I did. I always thought we did a very good job. We just needed to get out there. And YouTube was not anywhere in our thoughts whatsoever. It just became a place to plant our stuff and just get it out there. And honestly, it was a little over a year ago when I started doing that. But the plan was to open a comic store, and the comic store would be the platform for this channel. So we'd do stuff from the comic store. I'd also do stuff from my house, and we'd push the comic store stuff, but we'd also like still do the TV thing. TV thing took off more than we thought it would, so that's what we've become. Doomcock is the Doctor Doom from Corman's movie. I totally get that vibe. Yes. Except with the modulated voice. Isn't the funniest thing about the Doctor Doom in the Corman movie is like they didn't dub the voiceover, so he just sounds like this all the time. I'll get you, Reed Richards. Yes. But it's a great costume. The Thing costume in the Corman movie is awesome. I love it. Love it to death. And the acting is, oh my God, the kid playing Johnny Storm is so funny. So God, Reed. We're gonna probably have to, oh my God, it's almost 3. So I'm gonna probably have to wrap this baby up. I got another podcast tonight, and it's been a long time. This might be a record. Yeah, we're gonna be on time for the Expanse. I freaking can't wait. I've actually been rewatching last season a little bit. Johnny Storm is Wally West, says Steve Nyman. Woo, says Feisty Fan. And I've got a lot of podcasting to do, and I've got some chores to do. Now, thankfully, it's been raining like crazy. So, I mean, other than what's going to come out of Parker from the lotion, I don't have to do any of those duties, if you know what I'm saying, in the backyard. But the chores have to be done. Lots of comic books to go through still. And I got to work on the next Patreon tier. And Dennis and I are going to work on some like t-shirts. Now it's not going to be anything we're going to actually charge you for. I mean, it might be like something you get with the Patreon, or I don't know. But I want to do something fun. Right now it's just boring and normal, and I don't want to do that. Parker did get awfully quiet. That's a very good point, James. Now I'm nervous. She was barking like crazy. Now she's just quiet. I watched the latest version of FF set to film, and God, it was awful. Yes. The fan four stick. Oh, wow. For talking this long and still being interesting. Wow. Thank you, Viking bitch. That's high praise. Thank you for the super chat. And you too, Feisty. Thank you both for the super chats. It's very generous. Thank you. Yeah, poor Parker. It's, when a dog starts doing stuff like that, it's our fault. Like, we're not taking it out. She's not getting enough attention. She's not getting walked enough. That's totally on us. Got to take care of those dogs, little living things. She's not so little. Thank you, Feisty Fan. Love you too. Love you too. So next podcast will be a couple hours with Susan Layton, Dennis Pathalkas. We're going to be covering Ash versus Evil Dead. Apparently shit's going to get crazy. Tuesday night, Legion, 9:15. Wednesday, Expanse, 9:15. Krypton at like 10:30. If you guys want to stay up that late. If you don't blame you. Friday night live with Susan Layton. She is now a permanent fixture there. And we're going to be covering Lost in Space. Lost in Space is also coming out this week too. Real quick, how do you guys feel about that in the chat? There's things I love about the trailer, and there's things I don't love. Parker Posey as Dr. Smith, love. Robbie the Robot, don't love. I don't. I really wish they would have gone closer to the classic design. That's an iconic thing. George R. R. Martin owns, well, the one from the movie, not from Lost in Space. Oh, thanks. At Nerdrotics is my Twitter handle. I've been going there more. I gave it up in 2010, but I'm going back there more. So I'm starting to actually tweet stuff, and I'll work on the over tweeting of our videos. I gotta like unclick the. I know that's annoying. Sorry about that. I'll stop that. I mean, like once is fine, but sometimes it's doubling and tripling up, and that's really bad. I'll watch it for Molly Parker. Yeah, it looks it's definitely interesting. And oh, thanks, Mark. You are welcome. You are so welcome. Oh my God, Shook. oh, now it's a competition. Thanks, Shook, man. You the man, dude. Oh, great. Oh, thank you, Ray. He said, great show as always. I don't know about great. They're being very kind out there if you're watching this as a video. I like Susan too, Viking, but she really does bring an element. I'm always nervous about bringing people on, okay? Because like I want you guys to like them. It's really important. And she fits in with the chemistry of me and Dennis, like she's been there the whole time. And to borrow from Feisty Fan, she's feisty. And I like feisty. I do. That's why we like Feisty Fan. Yeah, I like the cut of her jib. It's good. Gary, the robot in Lost in Space looks a bit weird. It does. Maybe it'll grow on me, you know. Oh, thanks, Comic Division. It has been fun. Here's some chat room silver. Nice. So Lost in Space Friday, and then Sunday we're gonna do. I'm gonna give Feisty Fan a little chance to catch up on the Farscape. So we might skip a week. And it, but no, I mean, like Feisty, do it when you can. Okay, like there's no set in stone, and the Farscape fans are incredibly patient, good people. So yeah, when I'll send that to you tonight. Take your time, finish up season 1, and then we'll talk about it. I haven't seen the original Lost in Space, so I'm interested. Yeah, I don't know how that would sell. I don't know how old you are, Mark, but like I'd still watch it. But it's a very procedural show. But again, it's like something with a really great concept that can be modernized and done well. So if they do it well, I'll be all the happier. You're the binge queen, Feisty Fan. Good. So we're still doing Farscape episodes after doing through season review. Dante, I'll have to talk about that with Feisty. If she's down with doing episode by episode, I'll do it that way. I think I should follow through with doing every episode of season 1. That's how I'm thinking of doing it. Of course, I'm making this shit up as I go. And then I do a season review with Feisty, and then from then out it'll be season reviews. And then maybe we'll do like episode by episode with the Peacekeeper War, something like that. Her and I got to work it out. She, she's working. She's got a lot. She's running a comic store, which is extremely busy work. So I did all 11 seasons of Supernatural in a month. So maybe she can do episode by episode. She sounds like she can just burn that stuff down. But yeah, that's impressive. That's really freaking impressive. I was impressed with my 1 season of Expanse in one night, but that's nothing. Excuse me. Now Doctor Who, I binged the shit out of that. I was able to I got all the Tom Baker stuff, got in that. So I had never seen First Doctor, Second Doctor, and half a Third Doctor stuff. Went through that in like a week. I love the Third Doctor. Love John Petrie. That was so good. Yeah, there's 15 seasons of Supernatural. Logan, my son, really loved the Scooby-Doo one. He thought it was good. Doctor, we could do a whole podcast on why that was a huge mistake for Doctor Who to turn shitty and then like leave Netflix. Leaving Netflix was that I think that had a lot to do with the ratings going down. Now it's on Amazon Prime, but it's just not as visible. And them leaving Netflix was a huge mistake because I think that had everything to do. It was just a timing thing. Harry Potter ended. That crowd had a void to fill. And I think they filled it in America. I think a lot of those fans filled it with Doctor Who. Doctor Who was readily available on Netflix. That's how I was able to burn through and catch up on everything on it in a matter of weeks on that. And then just kept it going. I just watched it over and over and over again. And there was a time, in the store, I finally put up a video thing in my store in like 2010. And the first thing we played over and over again was just Doctor Who nonstop. People would come in and ask for me to put it on if it was like on something else. Like my original plan was just to play superhero movies and animated DC stuff. And we just started watching Doctor Who, and people would like hang out in the store and watch entire episodes, which was totally fine. I had a killer system set up, by the way, too. And yeah, they left Netflix. I think that was dumb. And there shouldn't be any, like, Amazon Prime is just as good as Netflix as far as usability and stuff. It just doesn't, I don't know. I think just more people watch Netflix. Tom was my doctor, but I love them all. Silver Spike, I do too. Everyone is distinctly different in their own wonderful way. Like the Fifth Doctor. I really like the Fifth Doctor. That's a cool doctor. John Pertwee was so amazing, Ed, and funny, and gotten karate fights and shit. It was so cool. Oh, but his first episode is I love that one, man. When he's in the shower singing, it's just funny. Yes, Viking bitch. I will have Farscape playing on a loop. I probably should have before. Oh, people are home now. I hear voices. So it's a good time to go. It was Matt Smith for me. Then I worked through Tenet's run and then Eccleston before really setting into Capaldi's era. Capaldi was so misused because he's such a great actor. The greatest doctor that almost was. I'll put it that way. Peter Davison, did you see the 5-ish Doctors? Yes, comedy gold, Jody. I loved it. Hey, the 50th anniversary special was one of the best episodes. Period. I love that episode. And just think what could have been if Eccleston said yes. I mean, it was great anyway with John Hurt. Don't get me wrong, but if that was Chris Eccleston, the emotional impact of that would have been like 1,000 times. Capaldi was robbed. Yes, he was. Yeah, I'm not surprised he's low on your list, Ed. He was given shitty writing. He was. But the 50th was cool. I think Moffat blew his wad with the 50th. Like, even the season around it was super inconsistent. And oh my God, that's a podcast for another day. But goddamn, I love Doctor Who. I can't hate Doctor Who. I'm mad at it right now, but I'll get over it. And it'll probably get canceled and it'll come back in some other form. The audio adventure, the Big Finish or Big Finish, yeah, audio stuff is really good. I love that stuff. They did a 50th anniversary special with all the other doctors on that one. That was cool. That was really cool. I like that a lot. Dark Eyes with the 8th Doctor. 8th Doctor. I want to talk about, yeah. McGann was robbed. Paul McGann was robbed. That guy was robbed more than Capaldi. I was kind of hoping they bring him back and give him a proper run. He's still good. He could still do it. I mean, why the fuck not? They're in different time eras. Like, who cares? Yeah, I would have liked to seen that. Yeah, the War Doctor and his own thing. They did some audio stuff before John Hurt died. There's a couple books that are pretty good. My action figure is on the way. My Big Chief War Doctor, very excited. Ash versus Doctor Who. Oh my God, that's something I don't want to see fighting. They got to fight together. I got to be like watching my children fight. I definitely bet on Indigo because he's 6'5", outweighs his brother by 100 pounds, so he'd probably kick his ass. But I don't know. Logan's pretty tough. Yeah, Torchwood. Oh, don't get me started with Torchwood. That's something they can so bring back. Bring back Torchwood with River Song. God damn it. That would only be the biggest show on the BBC, but no. And I want Russell T Davies in charge. In charge. And the tangents continue. And I really got to go. Yeah, my wife and kid just got home. So any second, she's going to pop in and go, okay, 3.5 hours is enough. And it is. It really is. So on that note, let's wrap this thing up. You guys are great. Ed Brewer, Zev Bellringer, Silver Spike, Feisty Fan, Mark, Comics Division, Jody, Apple Crow, Steve Nyman, Penn Farm Girl. I'm going to go up here. James Hayes, Viking Bitch. Did I say your name again? Ed Brewer. I'll say your name again. Ed Brewer. Michelle Flores. I saw Alexandra Sand. Is it Sandu or Sand? Yeah, Sandu. Sorry, Alexandra. And I'm going to go up some more. Ray Rain. Ray making it rain. James Hayes. You know, I haven't seen Ghost World in a while. What's Ghost World doing, man? Did he get mad at us from Star Wars? Or is he just busy? Shukuri Lama, the great Shukuri Lama. And Steve Diamond. Might say names twice, so I apologize, but I do want to thank everybody for coming in. The official Dougie J, which is Doug Johnson, old childhood friend, which I've mentioned every single fucking time. So sorry. I also want to thank our super chatters for who were Shook Llama, $3, Mark, two somethings. All right, Mark. Viking Bitch, $2, and Feisty Fan, $4.99. And of course, our lovely and wonderful patrons, which I just hid that damn picture again. I need to stop doing that. Hey, how'd the camera get over there? You don't want to see my closet. Where'd it go? It's never going to end, this podcast. It really isn't. Oh, dude, it's gone. Where did it go? Oh, man. Yeah. Okay. Jeez. Okay. We're going to just have to go here. Okay. I don't like ending it without mentioning my wonderful patrons. So we're going to go to Nerdrotic. No, that's not it. That's it right there. And oh my God, so many notifications. We got some new patrons too. So there we go. Sorry for making y'all wait there. I apologize. Okay, so we got Penn Farm Girl, Apple Crow. Christianette, Echo 9, Shakuri Lama, Eric, Richard Seth Jones, Viking Bitch, Feisty Fan, Lawrence Howe, Isaiah Norton, Fanon Ruff, Johnny Pappas, JD Gallo, Brian Smart, and Arturo Espinoza. And we got some new ones in there, man. I got to send some more packages. Thank you all for being loyal patrons and supporting us. And we are eternally grateful. And it's really humbling. that's like, it's weird. Everybody, thank you again for the super chats and thank you for being in there. It's wonderful. See you guys in a few hours. Remember, everything's at nerdrotic.com, and yeah, follow us on Twitter at nerdrotics. And remember, kids, progress, not perfection. Thank you again. See you soon.